Okay, come on, hold on. What
Can
he
you
said,
just pull up the crazy shit he
No,
said?
hold on. I'm not going to
I know
turn this
you're going
into
to do
Yo, get his ass. Get his ass, Patrick. Get his ass. Yo, cook him. Cook his ass. He's a fraud. Pull the clips up. Ladies and gentlemen, as a numbers guy, I got to say this right now before we get started, okay? I brought in this brown guy. He's Muslim. His name is Mehdi Hasan. And as you know, I will never have Hasan Piker on the stream, on the broadcast, because he will never be able to value tame people, okay? I only have people that are going to value tame people, okay? As a numbers guy, I'm going to chat GPT it. I'm gonna grok it, and I'm never gonna Claude it. You already know. Okay? It turns out this Mehdi Hasan guy, he knows a thing or two about the numbers. Okay? Because throughout this conversation, I was chat GPTing it, I was grokking it, and I was grokking my shit. Okay? I said, Vinny, help me out. It turns out Mehdi Hasan knew what he was talking about.
Story.
Okay.
So tell me your story, your background.
My background is, if the accent didn't give it away, I'm a British American. I'm a dual national, British American citizen, citizen of both great countries, born and raised in the UK. My parents, immigrants from India, moved to the UK in the 60s.
What part of India?
South India, Hyderabad.
Okay.
Best biryani in the world.
Best beer?
Biryani.
Biryani.
Yeah.
That's the best beer.
I'm not going to be the guy who gives you beer recommendations.
Best beer. Okay, got it.
So
I went to Mumbai. 8 years ago, and I spoke at IIT Institute.
Oh, yeah, it's big.
Incredible experience.
Incredible place.
Yeah.
But Hyderabad has better food. So I have to say that as a Hyderabadi. So my parents moved in the 60s and 70s to the UK. I was born in 79. I think we're similar in age. And I moved to the US 12 years ago, come February. So it's been over a decade I've been here. Became a citizen in 2020, been a journalist all my life.
What do you prefer? UK or, and I know, listen,
this
Mom's
is a
watching,
controversial question.
Just asking,
Mother,
I don't want to upset Mom, so
friends,
you don't have to answer
family,
it if you don't want to.
They both have their brilliance. I go back to the UK all the time. I'm heading out there next week. I get to go for work and pleasure. And
Mehdi, at least one Hasan is allowed into the UK. Oh, look at me. Oh, I can go back to the UK willy-nilly. Oh, look at me. This is why I'm the better Hasan. I'm allowed on the Patrick Bet David broadcast, and I'm allowed inside of the boundaries of the United Kingdom. Oh, I can go anywhere. Hasan simply cannot. Look at me.
Going back to the UK, but the US, I gotta say, the US has given me opportunities and open doors that even the UK I don't think could have done.
Really?
And I think.
Wait. Okay, 447,000 views came for the comments, and they do not disappoint. This is what happens when your training ground is Vinny and Adam. Adam and Vinny watching from the back like, thank God that's not me today. This was brutal to watch. Patrick, what's your point? I bet you Patrick won't listen to the market on this debate. Adam lending Patrick his body bag. Patrick got owned. Adam is going to sleep like a baby tonight. This was almost as bad as Dave Rubin shellacking on Jubilee. You know what's really funny? I genuinely don't understand why these guys like think they can go toe-to-toe with Mehdi Hasan, okay? It just doesn't make any sense. He is literally the maximum debate lord. He is the ultimate debate lord. I have never seen him on the back foot on any debate, even including people that I agree with and favor the ideological position of as opposed to Mehdi Hasan, right? There are some out there. He's just an incredible debater. I mean, he wrote an entire book about debating. He'll lose if he talks about China. No, I've actually had some private conversations with him about China too, like because we've tried to figure out like where our disagreements are. But he's just a fantastic debater. Sam Cedar is also a very good debater as well, but I think Mehdi's even faster than Sam is. Like Sam has a different way of going about it. Mehdi has the talking points dialed in and data points dialed in. Very clean, very sleek, very straight to the chase. In many ways, the cadence is very different than Sam Cedar's. I would say, like, obviously I'm nowhere near as good as either of these guys, but I'm probably a little bit closer to Sam's side as far as like my cadence goes, because I take like the long road and the long approach to explaining things, probably over explain things. Whereas he's just like boom, 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 boom. Here are the data points.
I think you hear that from a lot of black and brown folks from the UK, because I'm someone who's criticized racism, obviously, in the UK and in the US. But what's interesting is you talk to people in the media space, entertainment space. You look at someone like Idris Elba. You look at someone like my good friend, my old school friend, Riz Ahmed, Oscar-winning, Emmy-winning actor. They've all talked about how when they came to the US, they got more opportunities than they got in the UK.
Why do you think that is? Is it just capitalism? Is it just business? Is it incentives?
I think there's also, I mean, the country is a bigger country. I think we can sometimes forget when we live here how this is a continent of a country. So just geographically, space-wise, there's more places to just do things. The UK is very heavily concentrated around London. Right, the entire country, to the great consternation of people in Manchester, Birmingham, the entire economy is centered around one city. Politics is centered around Westminster in London. And I think there's also, in England, we don't have the legacy of, plantation slavery and the black struggle for civil rights in the US, but we do have a different kind of legacy of empire and that form of, history to overcome. I don't know what the right word I'm looking for, like staid, stodgy. It's just a kind of an old way of doing things. You hit a different kind of glass ceiling in the UK. I'm not giving a pass to the old kinds of racism and bigotry there still is in the US that we're still fighting with. But there is something about being a person of color and just having a little bit more ambition in the US. It's going to get me in huge trouble with
the two of
people.
us.
I'm forever to explain, bro. I know. I do.
Next week, if this airs before the next.
Both of us are brown and winning in America, which is a good thing.
Yes, from different parts of the political divide, I think
that's right. By the way, in high school, if I was in high school with you, you're 15, 16, who's Mehdi Hasan? What were you doing?
I was the same person I am now. I was a debate.
Okay, let's get to the good stuff. When does it start? When does it get juicy?
I was an arguer. I was the guy with the big mouth. I was the guy getting thrown into the hallway. I was the guy going to detention.
I know they talk about me. I know. He hits the clip copy for Mehdi, and there's one that he doesn't know the context of the landlords let the streets roam red in capitalist blood, and he gets flubbed apparently on that one. But
answered back. I talked a lot.
Teachers, students, didn't matter.
I found report cards recently that my children and I sat and went through. It was really embarrassing. My daughter sat with me. We went through the report cards. Every single one is, he doesn't stop talking. He answers back. He thinks he knows everything. He won't stop asking questions.
Is that a family thing or is that a youth thing?
It's a family thing, for sure.
Got it.
Yeah, I wrote about it in the book. My father passed away last year.
Sorry.
Thank you. He was a very disputatious individual. Loved to debate, loved to argue, super provocative. Even in the Muslim community, the story I tell, remember in the late 80s, you'll remember this because you're of Iranian heritage, Ayatollah Khomeini gives the fatwa against Salman Rushdie for satanic verses.
Yes.
Muslims in the UK are furious, especially in the UK, more than
By the way, he helped them sell millions of copies by doing
Indeed. So listen to this. So in Bradford, big Muslim city in the UK, they even burned copies of the satanic verses. Got huge issue we could talk about another time. But anyways, huge issue in the UK. My dad goes out and buys a copy of the satanic verses, reads
as a Muslim,
and puts it on our dining room bookshelf right next to the table. So every time our friends, family come over for dinner, it's there. And people are saying to my dad, what the hell are you doing here? Why do you have satanic verses on your bookshelf? And my dad said, have you read it? And I said, no. They said, well, how do you know what to object to about it? And I think that attitude of his, which was quite provocative at the time, and even till his death, he was known as a provocative individual. I think I borrowed a lot of that. The ability to be able to ask questions, be offensive if need be provocative if need be. Don't give a shit what people think. If you need to ask the right questions, you need to say what you want to say. That very much comes from my father, from my household growing up. My sister is also a journalist. We very similar in that sense. About
was he a journalist or no?
No, he wasn't, but he was very political. He was a very traditional, he was a civil engineer. My mother's a doctor. They're very classic Asian, Desi, Indian couple. But he was very political from the moment he moved to the UK. He loved British politics. Till he passed away, he was asking me questions about Trump. What's he doing? Is he going to survive? Like in 2024, all he asked me was like, why are they running Biden? Why are they running Biden?
At what age?
This was at 80. He passed away last year at 87. So this would have been at 86.
Good for him.
So he was super.
Was he sharp to the very end?
No, unfortunately. He wasn't sharp at the end. But even when he wasn't sharp at the end, he was still very political. Just wanted to talk about politics whenever I called him.
Never had a desire to run and do anything? Just
No, just loved it. There's a certain generation of Indian immigrant men who have a lot of opinions.
Well, the opinion part, I agree.
Yeah, but he also read broadly, read widely. He could quote Shakespeare.
Who influenced him? What influenced his politics?
My dad grew up as an orphan. His father died when he was 2. He was raised by his uncle mainly, who was a kind of polymath. And I think he absorbed a lot of that. So my father was someone who could quote Shakespeare, but he could also quote Allama Iqbal, the famous Urdu poet. Like he could switch between different cultures, different intellectual references. So it put a lot of pressure on me and my sister.
But was he a devout liberal himself? Like, would you consider him would he today be a progressive himself or no?
I think he very much would see himself as a liberal.
Okay.
My parents are very different. I think my mother is more conservative, more practicing. My father was more intellectually engaged with the
Like a
religion.
literal conservative? Like conservative?
So economist, if you're into that level, being a journalist, it's just, I didn't know what else to do. I did to run for office. I know Zoran well. I've met him a few times. He actually spoke at our anniversary party recently, and I had to speak after him. And I'm kind of arrogant. I think of myself as a good speaker. I got nervous that day. I have to speak after Zoran Mamdani.
Wow.
What the hell? What am I doing here
Did
speaking
you
after
feel the
Mamdani?
energy that he had?
He was Muhammad Ali. I'm looking straight there at Ali right
Yep,
there.
yep.
He is the Muhammad Ali of politics right now.
He is so good. Son of a bitch. He is so goddamn good. And Mehdi is also very good as an orator as well. I mean, these are... with Mehdi, it makes more sense. He's had a lot more practice. Zoran is my age. What the fuck am I doing? You know what I mean?
Just the energy in the room, people going crazy, his every move, hanging off his every word. He's got that. If he was American born, he would be one of the top runners and riders for 2028 easily.
Super capable.
But here's the difference between me and Zoran Mamdani. There are many differences. The big one is he has this charming electric smile. He is he's the guy who kisses babies at events. He wins people over. I have what's called RAMF. I have resting angry Muslim face. So when I'm talking to people, when I'm listening, I look mad, right? People have told me this over the years. Producers have told me in my ear, you look angry, smile. Not in a misogynistic way, like said to women, you should smile. But people tell me, smile.
Yeah.
So for me, running for office, I look angry all the time.
Yeah.
You can't win like that.
Yeah, Zoran is a remarkable schmoozer, okay? You put him in a room, I swear to God, like, I've seen it in person as well, obviously, in private conversations as well. But like, he is so good at making you feel special and rizzing you up. Okay, he is the goddamn Rizzler. So yes, the Trump situation is unique. I obviously have talked about like the background and how like, Zoran is seen as like an insurgent that, opposed the Democrats, and Trump probably sees a little bit of himself in them. But it absolutely has a lot to do with the fact that he can charm your face off straight up.
You need the smiling.
I'll
You're
have-
brown, you need to be smiling.
Kelly
You a
or
glazer? No, I mean, I'm honest. I'm honest.
Mickey or people, family that are taking pictures. Patrick, can you smile, please? I'm smiling.
He charmed you the first time you guys met. He did. That's true. But he's just very good. He's just very, very, very good.
You're not smiling, so it's not. Maybe it's a middle.
Brown and black people, sorry to come back to racism again. I do think there's that extra pressure to show you're not an angry
Smiling.
black man, angry brown man.
Yeah.
Obama was always seen as beloved because he was like, oh, you could imagine your daughter marrying him when he comes in the room. There was always that kind of sensibility around Barack
So
Obama.
you think that's the part with Mamdani? He's got a little bit of that Obama-esque thing going for himself.
For sure. I mean, he won over your guy.
Yeah. You talking about Cuomo or you talking about Sliwa?
I'm talking about Donald Trump.
Oh,
He won him over. He went to the White. You saw him in the White.
Tell me you don't love the fact that you're saying my guy. That my guy said, just tell him how you feel. Tell me
Yeah.
you don't respect that.
That was an amazing moment.
Tell me you don't respect that.
I respect Mamdani for pulling it off.
But do you respect that Trump's like, just tell him
I don't
you don't like me?
respect it. I don't
Stop.
understand it.
You can't say
I
that.
swear to God, I don't
Dude, you
understand
know you respect the fact that
I've studied Donald Trump.
Oh, okay. Point one for Patrick Bet David. See, this is Patrick in his element, right? The debate hasn't started yet, but he already won in this conversation because he's doing the muscle guy technique. Okay? He's kind of like, come on, you like it. Classic move. Definitely. He's going in hard.
Unfortunately, through no choice of. I moved here months before he came down that golden escalator.
You respected that.
I do not respect Donald Trump. But I watched that clip, and I'm someone who, you could ask me about Trump, I could talk about Trump all day long.
Yeah.
I know everything about Trump. That moment still.
He's big. He's doing what we like to call big dogging. Exactly. He's big dogging. He's like, come on, big dog. Come on.
He looks at Mamdani the way I've never seen him look at anyone. I've never seen him look at Melania the way he looks at Zoran Mamdani. Right? In love. Just in awe. He goes on Sid Rosenberg's radio show. You see that? Sid Rosenberg, he's a jihadist. Mr. President, he hates you. Nah, he's a good guy. He's at the
and that
State of the
still
Union.
doesn't get you to say you
I don't
respect
understand
Trump.
why. But can you tell me why?
Yeah, I think he respects talent. But honestly,
like game recognizes game.
No, it's, look, you're here. I like your talent. And I watch and I see what you do.
Yeah.
Listen, we may not agree on, 50%
He's not like
of
that
things.
with most other people.
But no, he is. He respects talent, and he's got it.
Fawning over people? Trump doesn't fawn over
To
people.
bring the guy
Putin maybe,
over. He's done it with a few different people.
Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, Zoran Mamdani. Those are my
What does
three.
that say about your Mamdani, though? You got to be careful with that.
That's why I
because
don't
you just put him in a bad place.
That's why I don't understand.
So be careful what you're doing.
That's why I don't understand. I genuinely
Mehdi Hasan compares Mamdani to Putin and Kim Jong-un. Don't do that. Why are
out
you
of
doing
context.
that?
This is why no one likes right-wing media. Out of context.
Just say you like the fact that they got along with
I do like the fact they got along.
I do as well.
Because Zoran Mamdani went, in his second time he went to New York. He's so smart. He knows how, Trump is very easily won over. He takes a front page of a newspaper, right? He takes a fake newspaper front page. Why has people not thought of this before? With Trump saving New York, gives it to Trump. And then he goes, can you free this Palestinian student who ICE just picked up? By that afternoon, Trump has freed that student. Right? That is a mayor who knows how to get results and win over Trump without giving up his own self-respect, without like fawning over him like I think Wes Moore was in one clip where they used it against him, where he was very, very friendly.
Will you give any credit for the fact that by the afternoon, the most powerful man in the world gave him what he asked for?
No.
You won't.
I'll tell you why. Can I tell you why?
When is your birthday? Let me tell you. Where's the July 10th, 79? You are this stubborn.
Why? You've done your homework. I'll tell you why I don't respect it. Because I'm glad Zoran Mamdani did it, but what does it say about our leader, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, the self-proclaimed leader of the free world, that it's so easy to play this guy? World leaders have been doing it for years. This is the problem with him. It's so easy to manipulate him. He's so easy to be won over. And I'm glad when my guy's doing it for a good cause, but people do it for bad causes too. I'm sure we're going to talk about Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu did it to get him into a war of Iran. That's my problem. When Trump first went to Saudi Arabia after he got elected in 2017, there was a story about how when he drove from the airport to the embassy or hotel, wherever he was staying, the Saudis, this is in 2017, remember his first trip as president was to Saudi Arabia. The Saudis put up on billboards his tweets. Can you imagine that? How smart that is? That Trump is driving along and he's seeing his own quotes. Like, these people know how to play him. They know how to suck up to him. Kim Jong-un.
His good quotes or his bad quotes?
No, good. They're praising him, right?
All right.
Every foreign leader knows how you can suck up to Donald Trump. You praise him, and now in his second term, you give him money. You can now bribe the President of the United States.
So do you think there's an element, you've never been in sales before, but you're a businessman now, right?
Yeah, I'm selling. I have to,
You're now sales.
do that stuff. Yeah.
And that's
subscribe to
Dude. Okay, Patrick Bet David waiting in a territory where he's most comfortable. He's a numbers guy. He's a businessman. Okay, I see what he's doing. He's like a fucking panther. Okay, setting a trap. Mehdi doesn't know what he's arriving into. He's in the Vietnamese jungles, and he's about to step into one of those like bamboo traps, and he doesn't even know it yet. Okay, this is Patrick's environment. Okay,
join to capitalists.
Subscribe
I'm
to
so happy.
All the cameras. ZETEO.com.
By the way, respectfully, you leave mainstream. You're at MSNBC. I think you're the #1 guy for them with the eyeballs you guys are getting. I don't know what
young
it was.
people online for sure.
Yeah, for young people online, you're #1. So, and then I don't know what the story is. What happened there?
Stop wishing this was you. Okay, I am a little jealous. I'm a little jealous. Oh God, I wish I could bro out with Patrick Bet David so bad. I want to fucking bro out with him. If he said I'm a numbers guy at any point, if I had an opportunity to go on a show and he told me to my face that he's a numbers guy, I would lose my mind. Okay, I don't think you guys understand. You would never see me again. I would die on the spot. I'd be like, oh my God, you said it.
A lot of different stories. They were giving you another job. You chose to leave. You do independent. And then independently, you have what, $3.5 million in reoccurring revenue 12 months later.
Yeah.
12 months later. That's amazing to be able to do that. And then today being a business guy. So it's great to have.
And I've never run anything in my life, so I was very worried.
So maybe that PPE degree you got in economics, that capitalist was inside of you, and we brought it out. So that's great.
Okay.
Welcome to the Club of Capitalists. It's great to have you with us.
I'm a socialist/capitalist. There you go.
A multi-millionaire socialist, which is great.
Nothing wrong with that? Bernie's a millionaire.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But let's go to the part about you brought up Trump and Bibi. So Axios brings out the story. At this point, you've seen it. So Rob, if you want to go down so I can read the whole thing, you're effing crazy. Trump fumes at Netanyahu in call on Lebanon. Go a little bit lower, Rob, so I can read the whole thing. So President Trump lashed out at Israel over Israel escalation in Lebanon and an expletive Latin call on Monday. 2 U.S. officials and a third source briefed on the call told Axios why it matters. Early on Monday, Iran threatened to abandon negotiations with the U.S. over Israel, saying actions in Lebanon. On the call, Trump called Netanyahu.
What the fuck? Wait. Bro, how did they dive in? I walked away for 1 second. What the fuck happened? Socialist millionaire. Oh, I love it. And then boom. I come back and it's like Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump are actually fighting. What do you think about this?
2 U.S. officials and a third source briefed on the call told Axios why it matters. Early on Monday, Iran threatened to abandon negotiations with the U.S. over Israel, saying actions in Lebanon. On the call, Trump called Netanyahu crazy and accused him of ingratitude. According to 2 of the sources, he also put the brakes on Israel's plan to strike Beirut. Behind the scenes, 1 U.S. official told Bibi that following through on his threat to bomb Lebanese capital would further isolate Israel from around the world. 2 of the sources said Trump claimed he'd help keep Netanyahu at a jail. He said, if it wasn't for me, you'd be in jail right there. You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you. Everybody hates Israel because of this. Do you think this call happened?
The call definitely happened. But both sides are spinning it in their own ways, and they're spinning it with the classic people. So just background on this. This is an Axios piece. The author of this piece is Barak Ravid, who is an award-winning journalist, won coverage, co-authored by Mark Caputo, former colleague of mine at NBC News. But Barak Ravid is famous, or should I say now infamous in media circles, for being the guy who the White House always goes to leak stuff about conversations with Israel.
Is this the guy that leaked it, that Bibi got up, that Biden got upset at?
Yes, same.
This is the same
So
guy.
he did both.
Okay,
He's bipartisan. Whether you're Joe
so he's
Biden.
a fair guy.
Well, it's not about being fair. It's the point is that whoever's in the White House, they know that this is the guy who does the stories about split between Israel and America. So we've had about 2 dozen of these stories over the last 3 years.
Is this a guy you trust?
Unfortunately, no. Now it's not that I don't trust him. I'm not saying he's making stuff up, but I'm saying he's clearly become a useful vessel for information from the White House that they want to get out. They know if you're Joe Biden or you're Donald Trump, you know that if you want to get out that you're pissed at Netanyahu, Barak Ravid's the guy you go to. Now, on the other side, you have Amit Segal, who is one of Israel's most famous journalists, very close to Benjamin Netanyahu. Channel 12, I think, is his network. This guy is now...
Wait, hold on. Big dumps, big dumps, big dumps. Los Angeles continues to move hard in Steyer's direction with each new batch. If that trend were to continue at its current pace, he would likely win. That said, the recent rate of movement is so strong, it may not be sustainable over time. Huge drop for Raman. Heavily favored to pass Pratt. She beat Bass on this one. Oh my God. Oh my God. Emma numbers guy. We are going to ChatGPT it. We're going to grok it. Every single person. I have 2 goals in this, okay? A Steyer, Raman, Red Mirage takeover would be beneficial for 2 reasons. 1, kicking out the Republican off the top of the ballot. Incredible. Okay, fantastic. 2, every single person that said every candidate that appeared on Hasan's stream lost would have to go back and do an about face and accidentally give me way more motion than I deserve because I did not endorse them. Emma numbers guy, we're ChatGPTing it and we're grokking it. We're grokking so hard. And just like that, all of a sudden, Javier Becerra is now in first place. Okay? Things are changing. I'm a numbers guy. Things are changing pretty hard. Nithya is now the heavy favorite. The more we count the votes, the more we are stealing. Okay? We are doing start to steal. The Patrick Bet David quote makes me stim so hard. Me too. Toby Durden and I'm a numbers guy. The difference between Pratt and Raman went from 6% to 3.3 with big swings. Very good numbers. We are ChatGPTing it. We are grokking it. We are looking at the numbers. Shirtless workout stream with Reglis Ben in Mexico when? Dude, he would mock the fuck out of me. Have you seen that man's cum gutters? Are you out of your dang mind? I see a check on Javier. How did they determine that since the counts are not all in? And there's one on Karen Bass as well because they're weighing it. They're adjusting it. And weighing the likelihood of the percentages that will hold towards the end of the count. It's the statistical likelihood that they are definitely going to make it. That's why this is a projection, right? They'll say this is the projected winner. The winners are never official. Like what you see on television at the night of the election is never actually the official winner. It's always the projected winner. Many people don't even pay attention to that. And the way that they calculate that is by past performance. That's the reason why a lot of election night watchers, who are not me, but actual fucking election understanders, were very quick to say a lot of people are doing an early celebration or early doom and gloom. There's a very high likelihood that Tom Steyer might make it into the top 2 still. There's a very high likelihood that Nithya Raman might make it in the top 2 still. My doom and gloom still obviously revolved mostly around the fact that Spencer Pratt got so far 174,260 votes, implying that I'm surrounded by 174,260 fucking morons. Okay? That's for my doom and gloom comes from this. Because the fact that he's cracked 100K in and of itself is devastating. Okay? Which is really funny because a lot of people thought that I was just like upset because Shoykot lost. I always knew that Shoykot was a long shot. It wasn't like, it wasn't a given at all. I have said as such. I have said as much. Sorry. My Vang is also within 2K votes from Matsui. That's great. How does this stuff change but not Shoykot's race? It's just not votes. There aren't votes. Whenever an election doesn't go their way, these people cry fraud and convince their audience that the results are illegitimate. If your goal were to design a political movement that would drive people insane and undermine the American political system, it would end up looking a lot like the modern right. Okay, this Polymarket shit doesn't matter, and it's literally a paid post. Come on, man. I've been keeping an eye on Shoykot, and it's been 2 to Connie for every Shoykot, sadly. Would be a crazy wave for it. Platinum addresses his controversy and says they're false accusations. Yeah, that's what he's... That's what he said already on Chris Hayes last night. This drop was about as good as Steyer could have hoped for, but he cannot have LA sitting at plus 19 next week and win. He's not gaining enough outside of major urban counties, so he needs LA and similar areas to keep moving even further in his direction. Los Angeles continues to move hard in Steyer's direction with each new batch. If that trend were to continue at its current pace, he would likely win. That said, the recent rate of movement is so strong it may not be sustainable over time. If he loses by 0.5%, yeah, at that point, I'm not going to say anything, but at that point, I think we all know who's at fault. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to get, hit with microwavable mashed potatoes. And no, it's certainly not Toby Durden. Okay, Matt Mahan. No, I thought you were going to say you because you didn't endorse law. No, fuck no. Yeah, no, I'm actually going to point the finger of blame at Butch Ware and Barack Denzel Obama Shaw. And Country and God DeMott. Living for Country and God DeMott, sorry. Yeah, they fucked up. I can't believe there was 61 candidates, man. What a fucking what an unbelievably stupid process we have. What the fuck? 61 candidates and Butch Ware still wasn't on the ballot. What the fuck, man?
Now reporting today, the day we're talking, that actually the Israeli side is saying, no, Trump never swore at Netanyahu or prison. And they disagreed about how to handle Hezbollah in Lebanon. So the question then becomes for those of us who were not in the room, who do you believe? Serial liar Donald Trump or serial liar Benjamin Netanyahu? Journalists who act as vessels for leaders on both sides? It's very hard. This is why people have a real issue with mainstream media right now. Because what do you do in a situation like this where both sides are spinning furiously? And I can believe either version. I can believe that Trump told him you're fucking crazy. We wouldn't put that past Donald Trump. I can also believe that they lied to make Trump sound stronger than he is and that Netanyahu's telling the truth. I don't know.
Okay, so how do they typically get the credibility? Because anybody can say this was said. So can you go back to the article when it says 2 sources were there? What is the... You're in this world. Yes. Is there a system or a standard to be able to... Because this is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal too. I mean, look, all the traditional rules of political journalism went out the window when Donald Trump came along, right? So, my colleague Swin Subsang reports on the White House for Zateo. He has very good contacts. And, he tells me some of the crazy stories he gets from behind the scenes in terms of people trying to screw each other over, right? In the Trump administration, there's a very unique dynamic. And, he's referred to it as a reservoir dogs dynamic. It's been referred to where everyone's got a gun to each other's head at the same time, right? So they're all trying to screw each other over. So that's another issue is, are two of the sources people who are allied with each other? Are they from different wings of the White House? You know, Pat, with this Iran war, there are different elements in this administration. Some people want the war done, finished. Some people want it to keep going. So there's different pressures on
This
Trump.
is not 100%, 80% story. This is
No. So there's different people leaking for different agendas to try and end a war or escalate a war.
Give me how this makes Trump look good. How does it make you look bad? Who's winning with the story? Who's not?
So
optics, purely optics.
Trump, you know the MAGA base better than me. Many of them are your viewers. Many people in the MAGA base, not as many as people suggest. My good friend Cenk Uygur, I know you had on the show, he thinks there's a big split in MAGA. I'm less of that view. I look at the polls, 80% of MAGA still loves Trump, 70% love this war. But there is...
Why are they Googling? This show is so funny, dog. They're just Googling Amit Segal and then Cenk Uygur. It's
a growing
nice.
minority who don't like what's going on with the foreign wars, with the betrayal of anti-war promises. And a lot of them see Donald Trump as being, I can't come up with a better phrase than Netanyahu's bitch. And this would help Donald Trump say, look, I'm telling Benjamin Netanyahu, fuck you, you're fucking crazy, I saved you from prison. I'm the dominant partner in this relationship. And by the way, this is not just a Trump issue. Every American president who's dealt with Netanyahu has come out getting screwed over. Joe Biden got completely screwed over. He gave his entire presidency to save Netanyahu. Look at him today, destroyed. Bill Clinton in the 90s came out of a conversation with Netanyahu. You know what he said to his team? He said, who's the fucking superpower here? He was so pissed that he got talked down to by Benjamin Netanyahu. So American presidents have been dealing with Bibi for many years, and they've always tried to assert their dominance, and many of them have failed to do so. So I think for Donald Trump, it's good if people believe it. The problem is, those of us who know the Axios reporting on this, we're very, very skeptical.
So let me ask you
film
this.
before.
If you're Trump's advisor, which you're not, but let's just say if you were Trump's advisor, and Trump hears you, and he says, screw this guy. That call did happen. That's exactly what I told him. What does he need to do publicly for even a guy like you to say, shit, this happened?
That's a great question, because Donald Trump's word means nothing to me. I've been documenting his lies for many years. No one's told more lies than Donald Trump in the public sphere. So actions matter more than words. Same issue with Biden. His people would leak, Biden's very upset with Netanyahu. Okay, but what the fuck are you doing about it? Right? Many of us frustrated with the genocide would say. Same question now. What are you going to do about it? Donald Trump has given Netanyahu everything he wanted, right? Even if this conversation is true, he's saying, I saved you from prison, in the sense that he demanded the Israeli president.
Did he? Don't you think he did, though?
In many ways he did, because every time this war continues, Netanyahu avoids trial, right? Every time there's escalation in the war, he doesn't have to go back to court.
That's right.
And Trump has publicly called on Herzog, the president, to pardon him, which he hasn't done yet, but I'm sure he's feeling the pressure from Trump publicly calling him out. So he has helped Netanyahu. But worse than that, you look at what's happening in Gaza, he's given Netanyahu everything he wanted. And this really bothers me, because in 2024, I spend a lot of time pointing out to people on my side, leftists, Muslims, Arab Americans, people in Dearborn, Michigan, who welcome Trump. And I said to them, you're going to get... He's more anti-war than Kamala and Joe. This is what I was told by Arab Americans who voted for Trump. He will be the anti-war president. Stephen Miller said he won't send our boys to die. Trump said, remember what he said? He goes, Liz Cheney will go to war with Kamala and kill Muslims. I won't.
Sorry,
They all believe that shit. Then he bombed, 6 countries last year, 7 countries last year. Now he's in a war with...
This is 56,000 likes on TikTok. Are we here? Is it happening? Or is TikTok aware of Asmongold? Sorry, that's crazy. I got to see 11,000 comments. Is Kratos not a 40-year-old middle-aged father? What's his point? He's just upset that Kratos had an age-appropriate relationship. This game is going to be amazing. Talking but this is him. Who actually watches this chud? I'm actually crying. Kratos is a middle-aged dad, bruh. You people have respect for Kratos, but not his wife. How sad. This game looks amazing, and I personally can't wait to play it. Oh my God, when normies encounter Asmongold in the wild, it's so funny. Jesus Christ, the anti-roach brigade on fucking TikTok. They hate his ass. Oh, I forget that we are in a very dark and very seedy corner of the fucking internet where, like, we're surrounded by chuds. We are literally in a sea of chuds. Like, everywhere we look, there are chuds all around us. And because the space that we occupy are fucking Twitter and nope, that's the wrong door. Yeah, I'm good. Because the fucking environment that we are in is Twitch and Twitter. Maybe sometimes a little bit of YouTube too. YouTube can get some chuddy. YouTube can get chuddy too at times. that we have a totally fucking different worldview. This is why whenever I go to TikTok, sometimes I'll see like a random, not a random stray that I caught necessarily, but a random positive clip of me. And the comments are all like, we love this guy. We love this guy. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. In the real world, TikTok almost is like the internet equivalent of touching grass.
With Iran. In Gaza, he had this ceasefire at the beginning that people were very happy about. But since then, he's allowed Netanyahu to do whatever he wants. And earlier this week, Netanyahu went on camera and he said, we now control 60% of Gaza and I'm going to take 70% of Gaza. Even Biden, Harris, Blinken, none of them said that would be possible. Trump has basically given Netanyahu carte blanche to do whatever he wants in the Gaza Strip. So when your answer to your question is, what does he have to do to prove he's holding?
A guy like you.
He has to hold.
It's impossible to win a guy like you.
I will give credit. I'll say it now. On
If
camera.
what?
If he manages to get Netanyahu out of Lebanon and out of Gaza, which he won't. But that's what I would want to see. Because that's what's happened on his watch. On his watch, Netanyahu's taken more territory in both those places.
Right.
Prove to me that you actually care about Middle East peace. Prove to me that you have control over Netanyahu and American weapons and get him to pull out. Because right now, Greater Israel is happening in front of our eyes. Netanyahu's doing the project that far-right Israelis have always wanted. He's taking Lebanon, southern Lebanon.
Saying Egypt,
He's taking
Turkey,
Gaza.
all this stuff.
Who knows what's
Next,
coming
that's
next?
what you're thinking?
Well, if you embolden the guy, what is the lesson of the last 3 years? There's impunity. You can do whatever the F you want, and America will never stop you.
Okay, do me a favor. Differentiate between what Bibi's vision is and what Israel's vision is.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so for instance, you could have there's a difference between what America's vision is.
Yes.
Be the greatest country in the world versus what AOC's vision would be if she became president versus Trump, right? So what do you think?
Which is the worst country in the world, obviously. AOC, if she's president, she wants America to be number 200. Maybe. AOC would be inventing countries to make sure America lasts. Trump, number 1. AOC, maybe like number 60 at first.
Bibi's vision versus Israel's vision.
That's a great question. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad tidings. We do this thing in the US, especially on the liberal side, where we say, look, we're against the Netanyahu government. We're not against Israel or the Israeli people. The problem is the Israeli people have made it very clear over the last 3 years that they're totally behind all these wars. There's been no real anti-war movement. In Israel, there's no real...
There's a little bit. It's not a big number.
It's tiny. It's tiny. You look at the polling, 80% of Israelis support
20% is what I was going to say.
every military operation blindly. You look at the polling, some of it's horrific.
Yeah, Mehdi says, nope. The Israeli people. He said it's not the Israeli ruling class, it's the Israeli people that are at fault.
Like 80% of Israelis support removing Palestinians from Israel. From Gaza, and another small majority support ethnically cleansing them from Israel itself, Palestinian citizens of Israel. Israeli society...
What percentage was this one?
So I think it's 80% say they're fine with getting them out of Gaza,
Okay.
like forcibly.
Right.
And there's another majority or big plurality of Israelis Israeli Jews who say even Palestinians in Israel should ultimately
The
emigrate.
West
and
Bank
leave.
and some of that.
No, Israel proper, within the Green Line.
Got it. Okay.
1/5 of the population of Israel is Palestinian citizens of Israel. So the polling is horrific. There was a poll done last year by Penn State, I think it was, where almost half of Israelis said that when we capture a town in Gaza, we should treat it like the Bible and Jericho. We should kill all the inhabitants, all the men. Like this kind of crazy. So, okay, all these polls, you take them with a pinch of salt. I get it. But anyone you speak to in Israel who's a serious commentator on Israeli politics will tell you that over the last 5-10 years, Israeli society has moved to the right, to the far right, in a way that American society has not. Donald Trump is polling in the 30s right now. Even at his peak, he got 49.8% of the vote in the last election. He's never had a majority. In Israel, the right-wing parties, the far-right parties are dominant right now. Maybe in the 90s, early 90s, there was a peace camp. There was Oslo, all this stuff. That's gone now. You could argue about why it's gone.
He's not wrong when he says about American society has not shifted to the far right in the same way that Israel has. He's right about that. As a matter of fact, you can even point to the polarization of the Democrats and how much more open-minded Democrats are to more radical, more left politics than they ever have been before.
How is that possible? How is it that in Israel, the guy is being that aggressive and his support is getting higher?
I don't think his personal support is going. We'll see what happens in these elections. Because you
just said 80%. I mean,
the war, right? This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm saying don't focus on Netanyahu. It's a very good cop-out. Even Bernie Sanders, who I'm a big fan of, he often says, Netanyahu. A lot of Palestinians say, Bernie, it's not Netanyahu, it's Israel. It's the Israeli political establishment. So if you swap out, I'll give you one example. If you swap out Netanyahu tomorrow with Naftali Bennett, who's an opposition leader, former prime minister, I interviewed him once. Naftali Bennett is also on the right, also likes war, has threatened Turkey, has threatened Lebanon. You've got another opposition leader, Avigdor Lieberman, former defense minister. You know what he said this week? He said, flatten the suburbs of Beirut. We should be going in and don't listen to Trump. So the opposition in Israel are equally hawkish, right-wing. So this idea that it's all about Netanyahu, it's a myth, I'm sorry to say.
Okay, so you're saying the two are the same, is what you're saying.
On issues of war and peace, yes. I'm sure in some domestic politics, tax rates, I'm sure there's
smaller stuff is going to be
in domestically within Israel, I'm sure they are.
Down to the war,
when it comes down to the region, Israel's role in the region.
Tell me what the vision is. What do you think their vision?
Bro, I think Israeli domestic politics is even funnier when you learn about like what the major distinguishing factors are, especially because even on the domestic agenda, they only go further right. So because the entire culture, the entire society is anchored around the ethnic displacement of Palestinians that are treated as like an ever-present threat all the time. And it's like supposed to be this security threat, this security state. It inevitably, unbelievably reactionary politics on the domestic front as well. So like, yeah, you have the Ashkenazis, the older Ashkenazis that are like a little bit more woke, I guess, as woke as you can be, which is not woke at all, obviously, when it comes to fucking genocide. But most of the distinguishing factors in Israeli politics on the domestic side, if you're going to, think about Palestine as a non-issue because everyone agrees with it, it goes unbelievably far right. Like, should women be able to read? Far right. Like, should women be allowed to learn how to read? Okay. Now, of course, Israelis that are like liberal Zionists or whatever will refuse to acknowledge why that's the case. Like they'll talk about how it's because Benjamin Netanyahu is a far right figure and he created this coalition and gave a lot of legitimacy to the worst elements like the settlers. We don't like them, all this shit. But the only reason why these guys are allowed in polite society and have a growing movement and a voice is, well, one, because of demographics. They're the only ones who are fucking and having 8 kids. The more fundy you are, the more fundamentalist you are, the more likely you are to have children. That's why the next generation of Israelis are far more radicalized than the older Israelis. Yeah, the liberal Ashkenazis don't fuck. They don't have children. And it's only the ultra-Orthodox population that's just like repopulating. That's part of the reason why Israel hasn't actually run into the same like developed nation issue of demographics. And because of their lack of interest in addressing the whole society being anchored around far-right militarism against and ethnic cleansing and justifying ethnic cleansing against the Palestinians, of course, the guys that are more radical are also going to be radical on other shit too.
What do you think Israel's vision is?
There's a best case scenario and there's a worst case scenario.
Okay.
The best case scenario is that they have this idea of we must be in a state of permanent war footing, right? I think there's a phrase for it, I forget the name, combat between the conflicts. There's a military doctrine that says even when we're not at war, we carry on doing preemptive strikes, we carry on doing cyber warfare, we carry on doing assassinations, so that Israel remains the regional hegemon. We keep our superiority, our military edge. We let everyone know in the region who's boss, even when we're not in a formal state of war. That's the best case scenario, that this is just a security doctrine that says we will bomb and invade whoever we like just to remain top dog in the region. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario is it's ideological, that these are fanatical, messianic people who believe that all of the territory is theirs, given to them by the Bible. I interviewed Naftali Bennett in 2017, nearly a decade ago, for Al Jazeera. He was education minister at the time. I never forget this interview. I said to him, we were talking about peace treaties and two-state solution, and he said, the Bible says it's ours. I'd never heard someone say that bluntly to my face. I can't imagine Ilhan Omar going on TV and saying, the Quran says this, right? This guy's openly saying, the Bible says the land is ours. Where do you go with that? There's no debate after that, right? That's just a kind of religious, ethnic nationalist, messianic vision. So Benjamin Netanyahu, even though he's not a religious man, has signed off on a greater Israel. He was asked about whether he believes in it. He said, absolutely. The opposition leader, Yair Lapid, who's a kind of centrist, supposedly a liberal, he was asked after the Mike Huckabee, Tucker Carlson interview. He said, do you agree with Mike Huckabee? That all of the territories from the Bible, it's all yours? He said, yeah, our borders are biblical. This is what the opposition leader said. Forget the right-wingers Smotrich and Ben Gvir.
What do you think is the likelihood their vision becomes a reality?
right now, more likely than not, because the United States of America has allowed Israel to get away with a genocide.
How long? I mean, long term,
long term, no. Long term, it's perpetual war for perpetual peace.
And by the way, deep down inside, do you really think Trump wants this war to continue?
No. Trump doesn't like long wars.
No.
He likes short wars. That's why he's been humiliated by Iran, because he thought this would be over in a few days.
By the way, nobody thought Iran was going to be able to, not nobody. A lot of people on his camp, when they sat there and talked about it, it is a very fair argument to say that. No, let me make my point on what I'm saying. It is a very fair argument to say that unlike Venezuela,
This is such bullshit. Of course, everybody knew this would happen. There's a reason why no previous administration has ever done it. Literally, everyone knew that this would happen. I am not a numbers guy, as you guys know. And even I knew. Why did I know? Because the motherfucking generals, specifically Dan Kane, came out and leaked to the media that this was a spectacular failure if implemented. And he only did that after he couldn't convince Donald Trump. So literally everyone knew that this was going to happen. His analysts knew that this is what would happen, down to expending their standoff munitions that they have developed for their peer and near peer adversaries that they've stockpiled for Russia and China. The only aspect that they didn't know, they knew that they would, close off the Strait of Hormuz. That was always an imminent threat. Collapsing the global energy markets. That was always an imminent threat. The only thing that actually surprised even the American analysts was how effective the Mosaic defense structure would be at pummeling American targets. They didn't know how much intel Iran already had. That was one of the major, that was one of the new things that we found out after this, right? We always knew that they had the capacity to close the Strait of Hormuz with relative ease. We always knew that they had a capability to withstand tremendous American attacks because of the missile production facilities that they have underground. The stockpiles are underground, but no one, I don't think, knew exactly how accurate their strikes would be, the Iranian strikes would be. But everyone understood that this would be a very difficult task. We didn't know two things. One, how effective they would be at destroying American targets. And two, how effective they would be at propaganda with Lego videos. Two, nobody knew how good the Lego videos would hit.
We went in, we got Maduro, and we're out. Most likely, Cuba is going to be the same way as Venezuela, probably even easier when they go through and get it.
Sure.
Iran showed up strength to the world.
Yeah.
And you got to give them credit, no matter what anybody says, conservative or on the left.
You can give them credit militarily, obviously not politically, but Trump, I don't think we can defend him with nobody knew this, but he did this line recently. Nobody knew they were going to hit the Gulf states. We all knew they were going to hit the Gulf states. They've been saying this for years.
Iran was going to hit the Gulf states.
Iran was going to hit the Gulf states.
Do you think
that's been their doctrine for years.
Do you think that unified the Gulf states even more?
No. I think we've wrecked our long-term relationship with the Gulf states.
Tell me why.
I think in private, all of these Gulf states will, in public, they'll say what they got to say, but in private, they know the U.S. security umbrella does not extend to them anymore. They know that even if they give Donald Trump a $400 million plane, even if they put $500 million in his crypto business, Israel will always take precedence over them.
Do you think the Gulf states prefer Iran to be led by IRGC, or the story we saw recently with Pezeshkian, who's a moderate, stepping down because he's like everything's being run by. Who do you think the Gulf states would rather have?
I think the Gulf states are not a monolith, first of all, Patrick, because the UAE is very different to Qatar and Kuwait, right?
But they're neighbors.
They're neighbors, but they have different foreign policies.
I understand.
The UAE is an outlier. The UAE is very hawkish, very pro-Israel, very pro-America, very anti-Iran, which is kind of crazy because, if the US and Israel move on with their lives, the UAE is exposed to Iran for the rest of their lives.
Isn't UAE succeeding the most out of most of the Gulf states?
Are they?
Financially?
Are they? So many businesses have cleared out. Tourism has fallen. It's a huge industry based on tourism.
For the time.
You think people are going to go back? I think my thing is...
I think so.
I think that their image has been...
Brother, what are you saying? Bro, this is a brief glance into Patrick Bet-David's mind, okay? He just knows Instagram. He's a numbers guy. He knows Instagram. All of his buddies are going to Dubai constantly, so he's like, UAE's doing really good. That's incredible. Why are none of your buddies that are normally in Dubai currently in Dubai? That's so funny. He's like, I don't get it. They're popping on Instagram.
Permanently destroyed. I don't think you could put it back in the bottle. They had this image, especially to kind of white Westerners, as this business, tourist, even residential utopia. You go there, there's no crime, you chill out, everything's cheaper, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's gone now. Once Iran has done this, I think they've destroyed that image. Now, if you're Amazon or you're whatever it is, Chase Bank, you're going to go back into Dubai, Abu Dhabi, knowing that Iran can then do this again at any time they want. As long as Iran is still run by the same government, I don't think these Gulf states get that image back. And I think the Qataris understand that, even the Saudis understand that. They want a region, I think privately, and I may be wrong, and the few people in the Gulf I speak to say this to me, they recognize that Israel is the real problem in the region. They may not say so publicly. Some of them are signed up to the Abraham Accords like Bahrain, etc., UAE, but I think they understand that Israel is the destabilizing force in the region. It's Israel that bombed 6 countries in the Middle East last year. It wasn't Iran that did that. It's Israel that went to war now and brought the United States into this conflict and led to Iran bombing Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi Arabia and the UAE. And I think that is the situation we're in. I think you're going to see these Gulf states, if they're smart, making overtures to the Chinese and to the Russians in future years. They have to kind of diversify who they rely on.
You know.
Say it, Mehdi. Most of days, Turkey messed up that he won't say it. See, he won't say it. He's afraid of the Turk.
Maybe it's me being a Syrian. Maybe it's me being Armenian. Maybe the fact that I lived in Iran could be the reason for this. But nobody, sells Israel as this incredibly powerful organization and brains than those who hate Israel. All they talk about is how powerful Israel is. I don't think there's anybody that's the Don King promoting how smart, intellectual, brilliant Israel is than those.
That's cap. Israel is the king of lying about their capabilities. Are you kidding me? I know the argument he's trying to present here was just like, oh, Israel's small being nation. Israel's enemies actually end up fucking up and making Israel look good. That's bullshit. Israel literally constantly lies. Israel lied to Donald Trump. Israel lied to Donald Trump about how easy of a campaign this would be and how much intelligence they had. Remember, oh my God. Remember when they killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei? And news reporter was like, this was a brilliant act of espionage. And it was like, dude, you killed an 88-year-old guy in his house. What do you mean this was a brilliant act of statecraft and espionage? And he was in his house alongside his family. You did not identify where he was. He wasn't in a unique position. He was in his house.
Who cannot stand Israel?
Well, I'm not one of those.
But if
let me just go through the list. I'm not somebody who said Iran would roll over. I said Iran would make Iraq look like a walk in the park.
But I'm talking about
right. I warned that Iran and America would not be able to destroy Iran in the way they thought they could destroy Iran. It was insane. It was hubris to think they could do that. I've been saying that for 15 years. I've been saying it since Iraq, 2003, when I was a 23-year-old marching against that war. When Bush was thinking about Iran, I was saying.
Are you afraid of Israel?
Am I afraid of?
Are you afraid of Israel?
What do you mean?
Are you afraid of Israel's aspirations?
Oh, yeah. But aspirations are different, right? Can they pull it off? I agreed with you that just because they have this messianic vision doesn't mean they're going to win.
Yeah. Did you just say they located the house? They located the house of the supreme leader? Do you think he had a tactical secret house? Yeah, guys, stop doxing the president. Hello? Stop doxing the president, please. Many people, do you see that, chatter? People are posting the address of the president over and over again in the chat. That's messed up.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree with that.
To me, it's like okay.
No, they didn't win in Gaza.
Bro,
Patrick, I said in 2023, that this whole plan, when people were like yourself and others were saying Israel has a right to self-defense, destroy Hamas, I said, you can't. There is no military solution to your problem.
Yeah, so you know what it is for me? Don't talk to Mehdi, because Mehdi's going to do this. No, I want to talk to Mehdi. No, I'm telling you, be careful. No, I want to talk to Mehdi. Oh, don't talk to Bibi because I want to talk to him. I wish you had an hour and a half to talk. No, don't talk to Nick. No, don't talk to this guy. I want to talk to him. I don't sit there and see that, my God, everything, they're so powerful. They're going to control America. They do this, they do that.
What the fuck does this have to do with people warning you not to talk to Mehdi Hasan? Also, now I'm wondering who's been telling him don't talk to Hasan Piker.
I mean, you kind of giving them too much credit.
I mean, you're mixing different things together, though. One thing is militarily, can they win on battlefields? No, not always. Hezbollah defeated them in 2000, famously. That was the first time they were defeated by an Arab force on a battlefield when they withdrew from southern Lebanon. They're back now. We were told Hezbollah was done. Do you remember a couple years ago? Oh, the pages and the assassination of Nasrallah. They're done. It was a paper tiger. They just killed 30 Israeli soldiers in the last few weeks, right? They've injured hundreds more. Who knows what the real numbers are? So clearly they're not done for. Hamas is still around. And the Iranians still have, 70% of their missile stock, according to US intelligence. So the idea that these were all paper tigers was bullshit. That's expert. I'm not going to sit here and adjudicate, who has the strength in the field. Politically, though, in this country, does Israel still have power? Sure. They still have politicians who support them. They still have lobby groups that advocate on their behalf.
So does China. So does Qatar.
No, not on the level of Israel. Come on.
Oh, okay, let me...
Oh, come on. God, he is... okay. You are a literal slave to AIPAC if you make this idiotic argument. Dude, it is so funny. Like, there is no comparison. There is no comparison to the level of influence that any foreign ally or adversary has inside of the United States of America to Israel. Nothing. Nothing comes close, dude. The Qatar meta is so funny.
Ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If you had $5 billion to win over influence in people in America politically and inject your way of thinking, would you put that money to buy over congressmen and senators, or would you put that money into winning over kids? Where would you put your money?
Both.
No.
Either or.
Okay, then do diversify. Diversify. Seriously, use it as a mutual fund. You got $5 billion. How much you put in one? How much you put in the other one? Honestly.
I don't know. I
want you to think about
50-50. I think they're both important.
You think
you talk about when you say young people, you mean like TikTok?
Universities. I'm talking about universities, TikTok, social. Give money to universities, give money to places to get the kids' influence.
I mean, I'm sure Mehdi has already picked up on what PBD's trying to do here. He's going to say the amount of money that Qatar spends on university is far larger than Israel. That's what he's going to say. That he thinks he's setting up a trap. Okay, which is, again, fucking insane, because like the opaque funding structure that exists for pro-Israel institutions and pro-Israel groups in the United States of America go far beyond the influence of just like directly funding university initiatives. Okay, like every Hillel on campus is objectively and openly pro-Israel. It's just true. That's not a part of the funding mechanism. You know what I mean? There are ideologically Zionist college professors that are, defending Israel unconditionally. There are Jewish advocacy organizations that almost entirely involve themselves with pro-Israel advocacy. There is no comparison that you can make between Israel and Qatar. And of course, this is just on the influence peddling side of things. You can also look at the impact of this lobby, right? The impact of the pervasive influence peddling operation. Yeah, there's alumni funding too. Obviously, it's just, there's no comparison. When people hyper-focus on AIPAC, they actually don't tell the entire story at all. That's not even the tip of the iceberg, honestly. There is, once again, no comparison between Qatar and Israel, and that's precisely the reason why there's no other country that we have a level of allegiance with like we do with Israel. Yeah, in terms of influence peddling, Israel is in a league of its own. After Israel, you have Saudi Arabia, and then further down UAE, Qatar, and then probably China, but none of them are near Israel. Not even close. Not even close, because a lot of first of all, none of them can engage in advocacy in the country without fairer restrictions, except for Israel. Try to play that fucking, I'm an American Muslim, and that's why I believe it's appropriate to get my notes from Saudi Arabia when I do advocacy for Saudi Arabia. If you think you can fucking pull that shit off, let me tell you, you are getting slapped with a FARA violation so fast, your fucking head's gonna spin. Imagine I'm American-born Chinese. So I went and I fucking met with the Communist Party of China, and they told me like what to tell the American government and how to lobby the American government. It's over. You're going to jail. It's not happening. Whereas there's one group of people that can do this. Americans, not just Jews, Christians as well, can go and fund an Israel lobby that goes to Israel and literally talks to the Israeli government and is in constant coordination with the Israeli government. And that lobby is not seen as a foreign lobby, even though the foreign name is in the name of the lobby, AIPAC. I've seen a new talking point going around that you actually live in Qatar and have investment properties in California with Jank and use that money to fund our enemies. People live in delusion, dude. I'm sorry. Damn it. They figured out our operation. This is unreal. The new school student senate voted to cut ties with the campus Hillel group because it literally sponsors students to materially participate in the bombing of Gaza. And so the new school admin is investigating the student senators. Saudi Arabia is our ally. Saudi Arabia has a lot of money. Can you imagine doing this for Saudi Arabia? Oh, we're going to be participating in the bombing of Yemen, which is being conducted with American weapons. It's ridiculous.
Where would you put the money in?
But let me take your example, take it a step further. Okay, let's say I put it all in students. I win over young people. That's already happened. Have you seen the polling? The young people hate Israel.
I know.
But does it translate into policy? No, because the Congress...
Chef says, I'm Qatari. The amount of money that is spent on American universities for them to allow branches of the university to operate in Qatar's education city. Texas A&M is one of those universities, and it left Qatar because its pro-Israel board hates Qatar. Yeah.
Still controls the...
Oh, yeah. Israel's economy is fake. I forgot. That's the other side of the story. Israel's economy is entirely fake and also entirely propped up by American billionaires that just basically dump boatloads of money into Israel. There are a couple industries in Israel that are actually viable, that are, growing. Obviously, pharmaceuticals is one of them. But outside of that, they have nothing. They have no natural resources, and their economy has been fine, all things considered, in spite of the genocide. And there's a reason for that. Literally like a parasitic tick on the side of the American economy. And the American economy, oh, yes, the Russians too. Before I forget, you're absolutely right. Russians use Israel as a as a launching pad into the European markets and the international markets, but also it's literally like a skin tag that just sucks all the whatever it can from the American economy. Russians use Israel to evade sanctions. Americans have an incredible amount of loyalty to the nation state of Israel, and they will literally just dump boatloads of money. The tech sector is fine. But it's limited. What are you talking about? Like, yeah, they have spyware. That's it. They have Waze and they have spyware. Like, none of this is real. It's not a real country. Okay? It's not. It's just a fucking fake made up country with nothing. And now it's got a growing defense sector as well, obviously.
So I'll give you one example. 8% of Democrats support Israel's war in Gaza. 8%, according to a poll last year. In Congress, it's the other way around. It's like 80% of Democrats support Israel, only 8 or 10% are voting against weapons or genocide. I'm ballpark figures here. So what's the disconnect? The disconnect is we have a Congress that doesn't represent the public on either side of the divide. I don't think the Republican Party fully represents its base, but more so, Democratic Party certainly doesn't represent its base on Israel, the leadership. You look at these primaries, we're sitting on a day where there's going to be a bunch of primaries. So my big point here is, yes, it's great that young people have been won over. It's great that everyone under the age of 50 in the United States of America, whether Republican or Democrat, does not want more weapons going to Israel. That's the latest polling. Under the age of 50, everyone.
That makes sense to me.
Right? But Congress does. So the disconnect, this is why we have such a crisis of democracy. This is why Israel matters so much in our political system. It's not just a foreign policy issue. It's an issue of our democracy where we have members of Congress and a president who does not follow American will, does not follow the will of the voters. And so to answer your question, yeah, you do need to spend money lobbying Congress because ultimately they're the ones voting on weapons. They're the ones voting on aid. They're the ones voting.
And there's more domestic considerations as well. Not only is it like obviously rerouting money that could be going to the United States of America to like endless warfare that we're fighting now, literally at the behest of Israel, billions of dollars of funds burning in real time every single day. But also on top of that, because of the unbelievable amounts of unprecedented influences foreign country has on American domestic policy, it actually turns into a real fundamental problem in American society, like in regular society. Censorship, First Amendment violations. Like whenever someone tries to tell me, why do you care about Israel so much? It's like, well, there's only one foreign country on the planet that has been able to destroy the American First Amendment, and we'd never even talk about it. We don't even talk about it. Most people don't even know that this exists. In 38 states, the Israeli lobby has advanced, directly written, and has advanced bills that make it illegal for American citizens to demand boycotts, to demand divestments, and to demand sanctions from the state of Israel. That is a clear-cut definitional violation of the First Amendment. And it's ironic because many of these states are hog states. Texas is one of them. I'll give you an example. In the state of Texas, if you want to be a teacher at a public school, you have to sign a loyalty pledge to the state of Israel that says that you will never boycott, that you will never demand boycotts, divestments, or sanctions from the state of Israel. Isn't that fucking crazy? Every time I bring this up, people go, nah, you're lying. Google it. Google it in many of the red states. Google it. That is a direct violation of that for America. We don't have that for Russia. We don't have that for Estonia. We only have that for Israel. So how can you sit here and tell me that Israel doesn't get special privileges, that Israel's lobby is not a malignant force in American politics that absolutely interferes with regular frequency on American domestic affairs? It's ridiculous. No other country comes close. That's it. Dude, if I want to cut the grass at the intersection ditch in Tennessee, I have to sign an anti-BDS pledge. Yeah. You have to sign a loyalty oath, not to the United States of America, but to the state of Israel, to work for the fucking municipality. And that's not all. That's not all. For example, and you can always get fired at will in these states too, because there's no labor protections. On top of that, what else was I going to say? There's one more thing that I was going to mention that always fucks people up. I talked about BDS. Oh, there are also numerous, at the local level, there are numerous initiatives against protesting Israel, right? They're obviously hidden under hate crime statutes where they claim to be, combating anti-Semitism, like the bill that Scott Wiener unironically wrote, championed, and advanced in the state of California. Nothing comes close to this level of direct involvement. Israel, on top of that, also subverts the democratic process. This is precisely the reason why they hate AIPAC Tracker, they hate DropSite, and they called them out by name. Because AIPAC doesn't ever run ads about how much a candidate loves Israel. AIPAC knows how toxic of a brand Israel is, or how little people give a shit about Israel in American elections, right? Or at least for the past couple of years, they knew that nobody really gave a shit about Israel before October 7. So they run ads for candidates that are pro-Israel, and they run ads against candidates that are even like a little bit critical of the nation state of Israel, and the ads never feature Israel at all. No other advocacy organization does this. None. None of the other lobbies do this. Just AIPAC. So not only do they not get restricted as a foreign agent, which they should, but they also actively undermine democracy by promoting candidates, by dumping unlimited amounts of funds to certain races to promote certain candidates and to unseat others without ever mentioning Israel at all. No other country does this. No other lobby does this. American lobbies don't do this for American interests. That's it. There's no comparison. Whenever people say, oh, why do you care about Israel so much? I'm like, why don't you care about Israel? Are you fucking insane? Are you stupid? Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you oblivious to what's going on? What other foreign country is at the precipice of so much enmity that they are about to create as far as their unlimited funds that they receive, that they are now advancing a measure in Congress to literally merge the foreign military of Israel and the American military? Do we have one with other countries? You say England, not true. Not true. Israel is the only country that gets the latest technology, latest great technology. No other country gets to have it. No, not Japan, not England. We don't do that for NATO. We don't do that for any other country. It's not hyperbolic. Out of the F-35 fighter jet program, Israel is the only country on the planet, for example, that gets to have its own software, its own operating software in the F-35 fighter jets. No other country has complete control over their own F-35 fighter jets. Not a single other country has that. Only Israel. They can get fighter jets. They can get F-35 fighter jets. But none of them have the operating software that is indigenous like Israel.
To censor our speech, saying anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, all of that stuff is coming out of Congress. And people say, oh, Qatar and this. I just gave you an example. The Qataris gave him a $400 million plane. The Emiratis gave him $500 million for his crypto fund. The Saudis have sponsored multiple multi-million-dollar golf tournaments at his properties, hotels. Did it come in useful? When it came down to it, he picked Israel. He picked Miriam Adelson. He picked Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah. He picked AIPAC. He picked Marco Rubio.
I don't know about
that. He
that.
picked all these people. What do you mean? We've seen it with our eyes.
I don't know about that. Listen, let me ask you this. Do you think, and by the way, you didn't answer my question. So I want to stay on the money part, and then I'm going to go to the next question.
I did answer. I said, I could spend it all on the kids. It doesn't matter.
No, but
because ultimately Congress is still more important.
So you would put all the money in Congress and
No, both. I said split.
You would do 50-50.
50-50. Win over the people, and then win over the people who represent the people.
So where does Qatar put their money? They put $6.5 billion in universities. Where does China put their money? $5.5 billion in universities. What type of influence do you think they got long term? Do you think long term, like you think China thinks short term? You think Qatar thinks short term? You think they're trying to buy influence long term when they get in front of the kids?
You think, do you have evidence? It's a serious question.
The dollar?
No, I mean, no, I'm talking about, do you have evidence that, well, first of all, what Chinese investment has gone into university?
You want to pull it up, Rob? I mean, this, you know.
I know that the Qataris are sponsored. I've been to Georgetown, Qatar. They spend a lot of money on U.S. universities. But it's great. I'm asking about what's China's sponsored university?
Oh, China's given donations.
He's talking about the Confucius Institutes, but he's failing to make the point because he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm fairly certain he's talking about the Confucius Institutes that used to exist in America. I think they made it illegal now or something. I'm pretty sure. I remember there being some controversy about it. But once again, it doesn't matter because what level of influence does China have on American foreign or domestic policy? There is no comparison. Israel also has the highest number of companies in the American stock market. Far larger number, I believe, than even countries that are far larger than Israel, like India.
The Chinese government sponsors American universities. I did not know this.
Let me pull up.
I'm happy to show my ignorance.
By the way, I don't know where the money is coming from, but I'll show you here. China has invested an estimated 5.6. I was short by $1 billion.
Okay.
6.4 billion American universities over the recent decade, making it one of the largest foreign. So why are they doing it?
No, hold on. You didn't read the third sentence.
Which is what
these funds. You think research partnerships with the Chinese is making kids on campus pro-China?
No, no. It's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Mehdi, you're very smart. So you went to Oxford. You got the PPE degree. It's like not the PPP loan. You got the legit PPE degree, right? Do you not think if these schools are getting this types of money, which phone call you think they're picking up?
Oh, you think we know, Patrick, because we just saw what happened the last 3 years. Did Colombia go pro-Israel or pro-Qatar?
But what did Colombia do?
They went pro-Israel. They silenced all the pro-Palestinian.
But what did they do? But what did they do?
They rolled over for Donald Trump and they rolled over for the Israel lobby.
Dog, most of these universities don't have literal campuses in foreign countries like China as they do in Tel Aviv. That's one. Most of these universities' alumni, even if they are fucking Chinese, are not actually making administrative decisions at the behest of a foreign nation like our American alumni are, okay, at the behest of Israel. That's a huge part of this problem. Some of this stuff is not going to show up for a numbers guy to find out after ChatGPTing it, okay? After grokking it, ChatGPTing it, grokking it.
Was the event that happened that got him to get there?
I don't know which event.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. I don't know where you're going.
You follow the stories. You tell me, who was it? It was 3 universities, right? Columbia was one of them.
And there was a bunch of universities that cracked down on pro-Palestine dissenters.
Why did they do that?
Multiple reasons. Pressure from politicians who are pro-Israel.
You think maybe
pressure from donors who are pro-Israel. Pressure from activist groups. This whole ridiculous debate where we conflate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. I remember when I launched...
I'm not with that. Just so you know, like in Florida when they're saying you can't debate and criticize Israel, I'm not part of that camp.
Not just that. DeSantis is one of the many governors and Republicans
I'm not part of that
who have
camp.
said that if you're an American business that engages in BDS, you can't get contracts
No.
with the state. That's insane. That American business can't do what it wants to do.
But by the way, what I'm trying to tell you is I think the reasonable people
Yeah.
are not with that. Short term, some of these things may come and go.
Yeah. The media created campus anti-Semitism crisis an Israeli propaganda campaign completely divorced from reality. Universities' own internal reviews find campus anti-Semitism to be on par with campus Islamophobia, yet one is covered 63 times more than the other between October 2023 and April 2024. Yeah. A Chicago professor was just suspended after assignment mentions Palestinians. Okay? We call it the P word. Chicago professor suspended after assignment mentions Palestinians. School of the Art Institute Chicago professor put under investigation after student complaint about a case study. Professor in the U.S. was just suspended for mentioning Palestinians just days after Hasan Piker was barred from the U.K. for condemning a genocide. Your rights are being stripped away in service of Israel's impunity. I mean, dude, simply put, can you imagine the British government barring me entry for saying, like, fuck Russia? You know what I mean? For saying, I don't like Poland. Criticizing Poland, criticizing Estonia, Lithuania, any other country. Dude, I mean, look, one of the better examples of this is, ironically enough, Daniel Biss's gubernatorial run against J.B. Pritzker. When he was running against J.B. Pritzker, his lieutenant governor pick was DSA. His lieutenant governor pick was DSA, and therefore, DSA Chicago at the time was pro-BDS and still is. 2018. He dropped him. There was controversy around the fucking lieutenant governor pick of a Jewish liberal Zionist who was running for governor with family members who live in Israel, and his hand-selected lieutenant governor pick was DSA, and therefore was on board with BDS. And they dropped him. Daniel Biss dropped his ass. What other country has this level of involvement with the lieutenant governor pick in Illinois, in the state of Illinois, who has like no guarantee that he's going to win anyway? They're out here funding fucking like comptroller races and shit. Ridiculous.
Long term, they're not. I had Randy, what's his last name? Randy Fine. I had him on and I asked him the question
He's a racist.
about where he's at. I think you may have even tweeted something about it when we talked about it. I asked him a couple questions, pointed whether he was pro-America, America first, or Israel first. If you're in America, hey, with you not being America first, but I want to go
Oh, yeah. Randy Fine was being honest with you when he said America first, right? Come on, man.
back to this. If they give $6 billion, you think they're dumb that they're just giving $6 billion to universities? You don't think they want things in return?
No, I
you don't
think
think they
everyone.
want it
I
to
think
be-
you made that point earlier. There are many lobbies trying to get their way. I'm not disputing that there are many lobbies. In fact, I'm the one who says, let's not treat the Israel lobby as a unique lobby. People are like, oh my God, AIPAC. I always
Thank
say
you.
AIPAC, NRA,
Great. All of them.
Big Pharma, all of these people.
All of them.
I want to get money out of politics. I'm on the
What a crazy 24 hours, man. The tentative ruling feels a little surreal. First, I just want to say thank you to everyone who supported me, believed in me, helped me get there. I could not have done any of this without all of you. For all those unfamiliar, tentative rulings are sometimes published in advance of hearings. In the interest of streamlining the hearing, the tentative ruling is the position of the court before the hearing. So the fact that the tentative ruling is to grant my motion for judgment is incredible news. The hearing was earlier today, and the judge has taken the matter under submission, and an official ruling will be issued, hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm feeling very optimistic, and I'll be going over the document tomorrow on stream at 7 a.m. See you all then. So it's still not finalized, right? I mean, it seems very unlikely that an appeal would change anything at this point, right? But it's not enough to ask these people if they're America first. You have to ask them what number to rank Israel. If they say number 2, then at least that's something. I have a feeling most wouldn't say that, though. Now Israel wants a permanent seat in the Situation Room. What the fuck? Israeli officials and their allies in Congress and pro-Israel organizations are seeking to ensure that going forward, the Israeli prime minister and his or her officials will be functionally and permanently granted seats in the U.S. Situation Room. What? Oh, this is with the NDAA? I mean, it would be anti-Semitic not to, right? I think it would be anti-Semitic not to do this. So obviously we have to, right? But hey, guys, Patrick Bet-David thinks China has the same level of access in the United States of America. So let's endlessly pontificate on that issue. Thank God I didn't fall into the trap of sounding anti-Semitic for a brief moment there. There is something poetic about all of these fucking groypers who were like, I'm not dying for Israel. That's why I'm not voting for Kamala Harris, who are literally going to now die for Israel. Like, yes, instead of drafting the Haredi population, did a lot of political turmoil, Israel has decided to draft the American population. Isn't that nice?
As well.
I'm a Bernie, Elizabeth Warren.
I want to get money out of politics.
Let's get rid of Citizens United. Yeah, Citizens United,
Yeah.
West Supreme Court decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but let me come back to your direct point about influence.
Like the members of Five Eyes don't even have that. Buddy. Huh. Buddy. What the fuck is the Five Eyes in comparison to the level of unprecedented access Israel gets? Come on. Those are vassals. We are the vassal at this point with Israel's interests.
I'm not disputing that they're spending money, they're lobbying, everyone's doing it. I'm saying Israel's winning, and the evidence is what's happened.
I'm saying Israel's losing.
I've not only do I have a kid in college, I have multiple Muslim friends, leftist friends with kids in colleges.
kids are now Jewish.
I have kids who've been arrested.
Yeah.
I have kids who've been doxxed. I know kids who have been suspended. I know kids who have been expelled because of their criticism of Israel. I watched a video of Rumeysa Öztürk, a young Turkish student at Tufts, be picked up by 8 ICE agents and detained because she wrote an op-ed in her student paper saying we should divest from Israel. And Marco Rubio had her detained for a year, right? So don't tell me that Qatar is winning this argument. Qatar is not winning the argument on campus.
So
that's just a complete, last 3 years is a complete denial.
I get your argument, but I would dispute it in the following way. Everybody is.
You are delusional, man. Okay, Mehdi's being way nicer than I would be at this point, by the way. I mean, I've already brought up a bunch of talking points here. But like, come on, dude, come on. This is one of those things that, like, even the dumbest guy you know would be like, I don't think that's the case. Okay? The dumbest guy you know heard his favorite content creator, Patrick Bet-David, present this argument and went, I don't think that's the case at all, and I don't trust you anymore.
Trying to win influence. Everybody.
Agreed.
And they're spending money. So
Agreed.
no matter what it is,
We agree.
everybody. But the question is, whose money is working and who's not? The part where I go that's not working is, do you think Israel's popularity in America has increased or decreased in the last 5 years?
No, because that's a different argument. That's because people saw a genocide live stream to their phones.
Also, does it even fucking matter? We literally don't have a real democracy. This is the point that I've been trying to drive home every time I do one of these media hits in the UK or in the United States of America, where I keep reiterating this point over and over again. I'm like, right now there's a crisis in democracy because the enmity towards Israel is so overwhelming by the masses that these countries in the Western world are basically having to make very difficult decisions on whether or not they even maintain the appearance of a democratic process or if they just cast it aside completely and go full tilt authoritarian fascism. Okay? Because eventually people are going to keep demanding, keep protesting. Protests are going to increase in their intensity because you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And at that point, people are going to start realizing, okay, what the fuck is democracy at all? What good does that do for me? You know, I've been out in the fucking streets. I voted. Nothing works. And eventually, they are no longer just going to oppose Israel. They're going to oppose their local governments, their domestic, their state governments. They're going to oppose the concept of democracy in and of itself. This is a real violation of the social contract. And I don't think those in power understand what they are teaching people.
Right, and you can't buy your way out of
It's
that.
more than that's one of it.
That's one of the big issues.
It's one of the bigger issues, but it's more than that. So whatever they did, like even when Charlie Kirk, the letters came out when he was having a conversation with Bibi, and I don't know if it was the 7 things he wrote, the 6 things. Do you remember that when he wrote a letter? I don't know if you remember that or not.
I wasn't a big Charlie Kirk reader. You'll be shocked to hear.
Yeah, well, you would have liked him. It was a special
No,
guy.
he didn't like me. He wanted me deported. He called for me to be deported from this country because he's such a free speech champion he was.
What was his reason for it?
Because I said something about COVID that he didn't like.
What did you
on
say about
MSNBC.
COVID?
Something about the whole school.
What difference does it make, Patrick? Are you going to fucking agree with Charlie Kirk and be like, you know what? He was right. You should be deported. Like what? Again, Are you a defender of the First Amendment or not? If you are, then you recognize that Charlie Kirk was wrong to say that. God damn.
Position on, lockdowns, vaccines, whatever it was. He didn't like it, but instead of debating me on it, he said, who's this guy? He should be deported from the country.
Can you tell me specific what it was, Rob?
Rob can pull it up. There's a lot of...
Now, if you said something crazy shit on Twitter and he responds back to you...
Hold on, even if I said something crazy,
he can say crazy too.
First Amendment doesn't cover crazy?
His First Amendment, he can also say that.
But
that's
you think we should threaten people with deportation?
I don't know. You said some crazy shit. What did you say?
No, I didn't say anything crazy. I'm just saying, let's say I did say something crazy.
No, but even
if I didn't say anything crazy.
But let's just say he said that. That's his freedom to be crazy.
Of course, it's his freedom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like the guy. You're like, I would have agreed with
that's
him.
a different
That's how we got onto Kirk. I'm like, why would I agree with the guy who hated Islam?
No, you don't have to.
He hated Islam, and he wanted me deported.
That's a different story.
That's a different story.
But by the way,
Rob is fast.
Rob is fast.
We need you, Rob.
Charlie.
This is speed.
Charlie was a phenomenal guy. But let me go back to it.
We'll have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, that's totally fine. So, but where was I going with this? We were talking about the influence, and then we went to universities. What topic were we on until I brought up Charlie? Rob, do you know where I was going?
You were saying talking to Netanyahu and the stuff.
Oh, yeah, when he talked to Netanyahu with the 7 points, and he said to him, he said, you're losing the kids. Whatever you're doing, the propaganda, you're losing the kids. So it's not working. So if you say the influence of AIPAC or whatever they're spending their money to win over Congress and all these other guys, guess what happened? I think they gave money to John Cornyn. AIPAC did. He lost. He's been there for 40 plus years. Paxton won.
Yeah.
So what happened with that guy winning? He was a guy that was not even supposed to win. He had issues. Letters came out with his wife, all this other stuff. It wasn't a pretty thing. So I don't know if their influence. Don't get me wrong. When you talk about Mary, she's put up some real money there. I mean,
Trump's been very open about it.
She's put up some real money there.
And can I say, I don't think we're disagreeing that much. I think we're not actually disagreeing. I agree with you. I'm the first to say I'm very happy to see young people switching on this. I never thought a day would come in my lifetime where polls showed that the American public supports Palestine more than Israel, which we're now seeing from Pew and Gallup. That's an amazing change in public opinion for people like me. But what I'm trying to say to you is all of that is why the AIPAC calculation might make sense to AIPAC is, well, who cares what public opinion say? If we can, it is short term, but if we can control, but they don't think long term.
No.
Maybe the Chinese do. The Israelis think short term.
No,
the Israelis
I'm not talking Israeli.
Okay.
I'm talking about those who wanted to make sure, like whatever their belief is, whatever your belief is, folks that are not pro-Israel, right? Yes. And hey.
Yeah, they've not won hearts and minds. We agree on that.
Oh, no. I think, I go to schools and I talk to kids. First thing I ask is, who do you watch? Used to be Charlie Kirk. Who is it now? Really? What's your position with Israel? Oh, boom. I mean, it's like zero to anger towards Israel. So guess what that means? Whatever the propaganda was, correct or not, it worked for those that are anti-Israel.
But guess what?
Okay, I need to say something here. I think this is a moment where the less you know, the better you perform. Like, I think Patrick Bet-David is a more difficult person to debate for Mehdi Hasan than like the average, like Shannon Kestenbaum or Rabbi Shmuley or whoever the fuck, because he is throwing some of the dumbest arguments that I have ever heard. Like, this is basic level shit that you have to describe to him. Like, you have to describe to him, shapes and colors before you can even come to terms on what the debate even actually is about. Because he keeps advancing this point where it's like, well, Israel is so powerful. Why does everybody hate it? And it's like, I don't know, dog. Maybe because they did a fucking genocide and they were unbelievably arrogant and annoying throughout the entire process and have actively demanded people get fucking fired and have gotten people fired and have also subverted democracy, the democratic process. They've gotten congresspersons to lose their goddamn positions of power for even daring to criticize the state of Israel. Perhaps all of that combined pisses off a lot of Americans, even the dumbest Americans are like, yeah, this shit sucks. It is actually because of Israel's profound influence that is the reason why it has profound enmity. This is a really fucking stupid argument. And I don't know if he's like weaponizing his stupidity here or if he just like genuinely doesn't think this is he genuinely is like, what do you mean? But everybody hates Israel. Like, how could you say this is a powerful lobby?
They've made a lot of progress.
Guess what's scary?
When
the pro-Israel side hear you say that, when they see the numbers of people watching Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes, God help us, when they hear that, they don't go, shit, we need to work harder to win hearts and minds. What they say is, we need to crack down on democracy and free speech because that's the only way we stay in power. That is why Peter Beinart, my good friend who used to be a hardcore Zionist, now a liberal.
That works anymore.
Peter makes the point that you're going to see a lot of Zionist groups in this country allying with the right.
Damn, he said liberal Zionist. He didn't say anti-Zionist. He said liberal Zionist. He's right, by the way, I think, to a certain degree, Mehdi.
Traditionally,
Okay, Mehdi.
American Jewish groups have been
ADL, all
pro-Democrat,
those guys.
liberal.
Yeah, yeah.
But now they're allying with Trump and MAGA because they see a way of suppressing speech and joining with authoritarian forces because they can't win the argument fair and square.
I think that's a mistake.
It is a mistake.
But
that's what they're doing. Jonathan,
I understand that. But what I'm saying to you is it's very important to win over the kids. Very important to win over kids. And
Agreed.
when I see China, Qatar putting, their long-term thinking is let's win these kids over and then let's see what happens. So I don't think Israel is winning when it comes down to winning over.
Did you see the Jerusalem Post conference in New York this week?
No.
They hosted a conference that ties in with the Israel Day crazy parade. They had Ronald Lauder, the Estee Lauder guy, the billionaire, giving a speech. His son-in-law is the Federal Reserve guy, Kevin Warshie. I don't remember his name.
Is he Jewish? He's Jewish?
Ronald Lauder is a very leading figure in the American Jewish community, big supporter of Israel. He gave a speech at Jerusalem Post conference, and in that speech,
There you go.
he said that Mossad and Shin Bet, the Israeli intelligence, domestic and foreign intelligence, should be working hard to get American kids to support Israel, influence operations. Openly called for it in a speech. There's a clip doing that. It's insane, right? So when you're talking about, this is what I'm saying to you, it's not that they don't know what's happening, but their solutions are so batshit crazy.
Go back to that story.
And so authoritarian.
Israel is losing the information war.
So they get it. They agree with you and me.
Yeah.
But their solutions are scary as shit. They're authoritarian.
It's not going to work today, though.
I hope it doesn't work.
You know why it's not going to work? You know why it's not going to work today? Why is it not going to work? Are you with MSNBC today?
No.
Okay, where are you at?
I'm independent.
What can you talk about?
Anything I want.
Anything you want.
Yeah.
As long as you don't say something crazy that you get a strike on YouTube, you're
Yeah,
good
but
to
that's
go.
the thing, right? Look at TikTok. When Mitt Romney had Antony Blinken on stage, do you remember that famous conversation a couple of years back? And he said, everyone was like, oh, they're going after TikTok because of China, because of China, because of China. And Mitt Romney just sits with Blinken and says, every time I go on TikTok, you see 6 times, 7 times as many pro-Palestinian posts as pro-Israel posts. We got to do something about that. Blinken's not. I'm like, Mitt, you're not supposed to say that out loud. You're supposed to say that in a smoke-filled room. He said it on stage, right?
Damn, he's just fucking, he's wearing him down at least. Here's what's interesting about that story too. You guys notice how that never got any coverage whatsoever? Like the Israel angle, that was pretty apparent, like pretty out in the open, got a lot of coverage here, got a lot of coverage in Zateo, Dropsite, and independent media, and yet never really saw that take shape in mainstream outlets at all. Wonder what that was about. Interesting. They're about to talk about you? Hell yeah.
He made it clear that the TikTok, taken over TikTok by the Ellisons and co. was always about Israel more than it was about China. And that does worry me because you could say, oh, well, I wonder today if, God forbid, the genocide restarted today at the level it did in October 2023 after the horrific massacre on October 7th, what would we see on our social media screens today? I think you'd see much less than you saw in October, November, December of 2023.
So if you, okay, fair on what could happen there. But to me, I think the independent content creators, Israel wasn't used to these guys 20 years ago. And this is a very different game.
Yeah.
Who's he talking about?
So they were not
Who you
accustomed to these
talking
guys
about,
coming on and not
Patrick?
meeting anybody and just sit in front of the computer, play video games and talk. And nowadays you have streamers. Streamers are influencing kids. Gamers are influencing kids. How long this is going to last, I don't know.
But look what the UK government just did.
Who you talking about?
Cenk and
They just
Hasan.
banned Cenk and Hasan.
Yeah.
So again, that's the short-term crackdown. We can't win
What
the
was
argument.
the reasoning, by the way? What did they say?
Anti-Israel.
But what was a specific
They didn't
thing?
give a specific as far as I'm aware.
Well, I mean, UK, you know your country.
I didn't
How
see.
many
I haven't
times?
seen the details because
Rob, can you, do you
we have
know
I know that they didn't say, look, banned for criticizing Israel, they say. I don't know what the UK government has said. But
they're saying this. You don't know if that's the position.
I don't know. I don't know the
Right.
exact, but my point being, this is exactly what we just talked about, which is, again, we can't debate with Hasan Piker, the streamer, so we just prevent him from coming to speak.
You can do it here, though. This is specifically in UK.
But my point is, but they do it in reverse, right? So with the UK, you pressure the UK
I don't know
government.
about Cenk, but you want to pull up some of the stuff Hasan said? You want to give him feedback on what he said? Like,
I give him feedback. I know Hasan very well.
have you heard about some of this stuff?
He knows that he
said
said some
the capitalist blood
said
on the,
some-
you know,
He
let
said
them.
some outrageous stuff.
He said,
he knows
is he the
that.
guy that's
a lot of
making
stuff is
9/11
quoted
happen again or something?
No, what he said. Okay, come hold on. What
Can
he
you
said.
just pull up the crazy shit he
No,
said?
hold on. I'm not going to.
I know you're going to do.
Yo, get his ass! Get his ass, Patrick! Get Get his ass. Yo, cook him. Cook his ass. He's a fraud. Pull the clips up.
Defend him, but
Well, I'm going to defend him from falsehoods. I've spoken to Hasan very bluntly and said, you
America
have given your
deserved
opponent.
9/11.
Yes. What is the context of that?
Tell me.
The context, he was talking about American foreign policy and, the quote unquote famous line about, chickens coming home to roost. It was a very provocative statement. He's apologized for that, by the way.
He's on the back foot. He's on the back foot, Patrick. Hit him. Hit him more.
To be clear.
Sure.
But even Robert Kagan, you know who Robert Kagan is? The big neocon.
Yeah.
He came out recently and said, you know what? 9/11 was a result of our bad foreign policy. He just said it in a more diplomatic, Atlantic magazine friendly way.
So you're supporting him saying that, Hasan Piker?
No, he shouldn't have said it like that because America deserved 9/11 makes it sound that those people died was worth it. No.
Right.
But did America bring 9/11 on itself? 100%. Our U.S. foreign policy created Osama bin Laden, created Al-Qaeda, created all of these wars in the Middle East, created that jihad in Afghanistan.
He's doing too good of a job defending me. Get his ass, Patrick.
110%. That was a blowback from U.S. foreign policy. Every serious scholar who's looked at that admits that now. We're coming up to 25th anniversary of 9/11. Even Robert Kagan is saying.
When do you think, Rob, can you pull up how many arrests happen in UK versus other countries on social media? I don't know if you've seen this. It's
Yes,
worth watching.
I've seen
Okay, Patrick is flailing a little bit. Patrick, stay on message. Stay on message. Cook his fraudulent ass, Patrick.
It's a little bit out of context.
But when you talk about Hasan Piker, what he said, to me, you can say anything you want to say. The only thing I have a problem with is when it comes down to a threat to someone's life.
Yes.
Give your opinion. Hey, I disagree with this guy's this guy's a that. But when it gets down to that, and then
He's never threatened anyone's life.
When he said capitalist blood, let them die. Can you pull up that clip?
Yeah, get his ass. Get his ass. Mehdi was not ready for this one. I don't think he had ever seen this one.
Clip?
I don't know that clip. I need to see
If
the full
Hasan
context.
sat right here, I'm 47, you're 46, I think we're a year apart. You're 79, right? 7K. So we're the same age. So when you sit down with a young guy like that, and we've made some major mistakes
I just
in our
told
career.
you. I talk to Hasan all the time. Don't give your opponent sticks with.
Here's the one.
beat you.
Watch
The
this.
guy is a non-violent guy. He doesn't support war or killing. He just says provocative things.
Do you have it, Rob, with audio or no?
My understanding is that the property owners who have properties there choose just not to rent it at all.
Yeah, kill
As a
them.
result.
Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yeah, that's a dumb.
Oh, wow. Where's the rest of it? Damn it. Get his ass, Patrick. Get his ass. Cook him. Cook him. Let's see how Mehdi defends this one.
Good looking.
Masterful pearl clutch, Mr. PBD. I almost believed you cared. Yeah.
Dumb thing to say.
Talented guy,
I'm a
good speaker. Why would you say something like
Me while that was happening. He's not even lying. He straight up texted me. He was like, what the fuck? The ultras who called you an opportunist were 100% right. You're flip-flopping on yourself. I just ChatGPT it. I'm a numbers guy. ChatGPT told me this HasanAbi guy, very dangerous. Argument done. Why are you hating on Mehdi? He stood up for you. Man, I'm fucking joking, dude. What are you... God damn it. How can I make it more clear that I'm fucking joking, chatter? I'm literally defending Patrick Bet-David shitting on me. What the fuck? End joke. Back in the day, the way to do end joke was by saying in a video game, which is ironic because that clip cuts before I say in a video game. But regardless, that's a LARP. It's LARP. And there's a reason for why that is the classic unearthed example from 2018 where I'm talking to someone who I used to be friends with, no longer friends with him, and he's a massive stalker of mine, as a matter of fact. Bro, defending you, it's so hard because they always bring up some obscure clip of you in 2018 saying like based Pol Pot, more like gold pot. Yeah, guys, you don't have to take this shit seriously, okay? It's like when people will be like, excuse me, right here he says in 2017, oh, now people care about dead Syrian children. And it's like, you do understand that they are deliberately robbing everything of its context on purpose. Like this is not an active policy that I'm implementing or initiating. I'm literally talking to a landlord at that point. It's LARPing. Who gives a fuck? No, Mehdi was like, I've never seen that clip of you. You sound so angry. That's what he said.
after this and say, you screwed me over on the Patrick Bet David, because I'm not going to defend that. I don't know what the context for that is. But look, even you said, let's park Hasan Piker. Cenk Uygur said a lot of things that are very provocative too. Sure. Not like that, but about Israel.
Yeah.
The point is, to come back to my wider point, which is there's still a way for them to shut down the conversations, to censor speech critical of Israel,
Cenk
to
is
stop
pretty loud.
influence.
Cenk is everywhere today.
But now he can't speak in the UK, is my point.
Well, that's the argument for UK's dumb policy.
Well, it's not just the UK. You don't think the US? Have you?
Not at bro. Pull up the numbers.
Way. Come on.
Pull up the numbers. Yeah, he's a numbers guy. Get him, Patrick. Get his ass. Ah! Stop. Pull up the numbers. Oh my God. I just realized he literally leans into ChatGPT and someone standing in front of him starts opposing him a little too good. Anytime an interlocutor actually starts cooking him even a little bit, he's like, I'm a numbers guy. Stop it. We got to ChatGPT it. We got to grok it. That's how he centers the conversation back. Almost every one of your haters, what is this? The difference between you and Hasan Piker is that 10 years ago, you were a literal neo-Nazi that called for the genocide of non-white people on a daily basis. Hasan, despite all his flaws, never went through a neo-Nazi phase in his life. What is this? When Hasan Piker says, but that I said that horrible thing in 2019, it was so long ago, I want to remind you that he and his community have insisted that things a person posted 10 or even 17 years ago represent who that person is, was, and always will be. It's the standard that he said. Wait, what? I've literally never done that, actually. No, my policy on this is very clear. Things that you've said in the past are not reflective of who you are right now. But if things that you've said in the past are reflective of who you are right now, then yes, of course you can point to things that you've said in the past because you're continuing to say those things right now. I've always been a major advocate for change. This is actually one of the most what the fuck's wrong with this guy? I don't understand this guy at all. It's the thing that like people get the most mad at me about. Like wokes and radlibs will constantly yell at me over this shit, where they will turn around and they'll be like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Like, no one has the capacity to change. He castrated himself and blamed tankies for it. What the fuck? Yeah, it's probably the thing that over the last, I don't even know what that means, but we'll get back to that in a second. I don't understand what you are saying. What? He castrated himself? Okay, explain what that means. Okay, this doesn't explain what that means. It's a meme about a kraut on Twitter. He cut his balls off and blamed the tankies. No, this is not explaining anything. Cock and ball torture? So he's into cock and ball torture? Why do you guys know that? Why don't you? I don't even know what this dude's deal is. It's a fat parrot. Okay, I feel like it's one of these situations where like everybody is in on a joke and I feel so left out. I don't know what this is. So this fat parrot is into cock and ball torture, and as a part of his cock and ball torture, he accidentally castrated himself. There's two parts of this. One, he castrated himself. Two, he blamed the tankies for it. Am I too old to understand, or am I too young to understand? Kraut likewise sees the world in terms of the enemy-friend distinction. He has his friend, CBT, and he has his enemy, his own penis, and the tankies. Okay, cool stuff. Tell you what, I will keep reading the arrest records of the communist secret police, and you can keep posting all the things you disagree with are not real. Pretty much all I've ever done over the years is ask you to read Incite Historians, and you keep following it up by making up things I've supposedly said or done. You understand how this doesn't make you look any more credible, right? You are just another tanky. It's funny how Kraut will castrate himself with CBT, then instantly turn around and blame the tankies. Why is everybody aware of this fucking meme? OG YouTube villain, great replacement pusher who became a Nafoid. Sean of YouTube made some good videos on his Nazi stuff back in the day. I don't understand. It's funny how the average tanky will bend over backwards to defend Islamist death squads like Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas, RGC, or Taliban, then instantly turn around and insist that Bosnians, Crimean Tatars, Uyghurs, and Kosovars are the most evil Islamist terrorists ever. Who's saying that? Like, I feel like this guy just invents people in his mind and just gets mad at his own hallucinations. This man is constantly fighting demons that he made up in his own mind, and there's always a tanky there. that's responsible for it. California is back. Canada votes Los Angeles County 6-5 drop. Javier Becerra. Xavier Baccaria, 48,000. Tom Steyer at 42,000, up 9 at 31.9%. Nothing for Bianco and nothing for Hilton in comparison. God damn. Also, in other news, Spurs is 41, the Knicks is 34. Anyway, he just keeps making shit up. This fat parrot guy.
Let's compare. The U.S. is much worse.
Dude, well, look at this here. The number of arrests for hateful messages. Social.
Marco Rubio locked up students in this country for their speech, for speaking. For a young woman in a hijab from Turkey wrote an article in a student paper. She said we should divest from Israel.
I don't know the whole story. So
pull it up, whatever you want.
I don't know the whole story.
A judge threw it out. He said it was a chilling free speech in this country.
What?
He had her released from prison. Multiple cases. I'm going to give you one.
Was she a U.S. citizen?
No,
was
she was a Turkish student.
She was a Turkish student here.
Legal student. Studying at Tufts.
Student here and criticized American policy.
No, she said, she didn't even criticize the American government. She said, my university, Tufts, hey, Tufts, we should divest from Israel. Marco Rubio locked her up.
Right here?
This is one right here.
F1.
The judge threw the case out. He said it was a complete assault on free speech. In fact, a Reagan judge, Patrick, you don't have to trust lefties. Let me quote you a Reagan judge, a guy called William Young, appointed by Ronald Reagan. When he looked at the cases of all these students, he said Donald Trump has launched a, quote, this is his words, full-throated assault on the First Amendment. Right? Marco Rubio is deporting people like Mahmoud Khalil, who you may not be a fan of, not because they did any terrorist activity or called for the killing of anyone, but because under the some random 1952 immigration law, the Secretary of State has the power to deport anyone he says is undermining U.S. foreign policy through their speech.
Can he?
Well, it's never been tested at the Supreme Court. There's one judge who adjudicated on this law. You know what her name was? Guess what her name was? Judge Marion Barry Trump. Trump's sister is the only judge to ever look at the 1952 law on its merits, and she said it was unconstitutional. But it then got rejected by another court on procedural grounds. Yeah, it's never been tested. You and I, if I just describe it to you, you and I think it's insane, right? The Secretary of State should not have dictatorial powers.
I don't know the laws behind it. So
let's assume I'm right.
Sure.
Assume I'm right. Yeah. You would disagree.
Yeah, Trump's sister is woke.
With the idea that the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, Marco Rubio, whoever it is, has the power unilaterally to throw laws because he didn't like what they said. Surely you, as a free speech guy, would be opposed to that.
And by the way, the way you're making it seem like is you're quick to forget what happened under Biden. You're quick to
just said
forget
Blinken
what freedom
too.
of speech was.
I just said Blinken's name. How can you say I'm quick to forget Biden?
You know how many?
No, hold on. How can you say I'm quick to forget Biden? I just said Blinken.
I'm just reminding
Rubio.
you how many people on YouTube got strikes, videos taken down. What things we couldn't talk about. We couldn't criticize anything about vaccine, COVID.
That's not true.
You know how many strikes I got?
You're exaggerating. You couldn't criticize anything about vaccines. I was there at the pandemic. People were criticizing vaccines. You were criticizing
videos were disappearing like this.
You did not go to prison, okay? Let me tell you something. You did not go to prison. You did not, you weren't threatened by the motherfucking federal government like I am, okay? With bullshit subpoenas. None of that shit happened. You did not get deported.
I can do easy research for you, send a report to you. Videos were disappearing like that. People that were talking, creating content, massive YouTubers were disappearing.
So, hold on. You've just made my point for me. A minute ago, you said America's much better than the UK. Now you're saying America's dictatorial too, so we're agreeing.
No, I'm not saying America's better than UK. When it comes down to arrest, we don't arrest.
What it was Ramey Sostek. I just showed you.
You want me to?
Joe Biden, under Biden's watchful gaze, 3,500 peaceful campus protesters were arrested. Okay, so yes, we do arrest people. You're fucking wrong. That was just under Joseph Robinette Brandon, mind you, who's also just as bad as Donald Trump is on this issue. Okay, let's be fucking real. 3,500 just student protesters. No students were arrested. What do you mean no students were? 3,500 students in the United States of America during the election cycle under the Biden leadership by local police departments were arrested for exercising their First Amendment rights. If PBD doesn't know the numbers, it didn't happen. Grok it. ChatGPT it now.
I can go through the list. Should I go through the list? Mahmoud Khalil.
Are you really going to
I know these people.
UK versus US?
I'm going to say right now, the US is much worse than the UK.
Stop it.
And actually, by the way, the UK.
Stop it.
Hold on. The UK is really bad right
When's
now.
the last time somebody knocked on your door and said, Mehdi, be quiet, you're talking too much?
You know, the UK is.
Wait, they did that in Florida like the other day. They do that in Florida all the time. Like literally, you'll have the motherfucking sheriff. You'll have the motherfucking sheriff show up to someone's home and be like, "What's this post about?" Straight up.
By the way, I don't want to defend the UK. The Labour government in the UK passed a law that criminalised Palestine Action. You heard of this group, Palestine Action?
No.
It's a group that went and threw paint on some. It broke into a military base and threw paint, and I think they assaulted a police officer. Fought with them. I can't remember what the charges were, but they were classified as a terrorist group alongside ISIS and some far right white supremacist groups. Insane. There's no intelligence for this. They rammed it through Parliament, got it voted on. And then they started rounding up people. I don't know if you've seen the videos. Every weekend for the last few months in the UK, people were protesting against the genocide. Little old ladies, a guy in a wheelchair, vicars, priests, grabbed by 2 police officers, arrested, you're a terrorist. Because they said Palestine Action. You can't say Palestine Action. So I'm not going to defend the British government. They're deeply repressive right now. But funnily enough, Elon Musk never talks about cases like that. He always brings up the cases about
Tommy Robinson.
all of that stuff.
I'm sure you're a big fan of Tommy.
Oh yeah, and he's a big fan of mine. But the biggest threat right now, there's no more repressive law than this law they did to basically, if you go out and say Palestine Action, you say the 2 words. If I go to the UK tomorrow and say Palestine Action, I will be arrested.
So what do you think about what happened to Henry Nowak?
Who's Henry Nowak?
Henry, you don't know who Henry Nowak is?
I will if you remind me.
Can you pull it up, Rob? Henry Nowak. This is the guy in Southampton, England, last year, December 3rd, 2025. 18-year-old kid is going home, murdered by Vikram Digwa. The video just came out. The Vikram guy stabs Henry Nowak. That's the problem. Media is not even talking about this. Stabs Henry Nowak. I don't know how many times. Cut and stabbed Nowak a total of 5 times with a knife.
What does this have to do with free speech? What does this have to do with anything that they were just talking about? He just went, what about this guy? He got killed. It's like, okay, that's it's a horrible story. It's devastating. What do you want me to say about this? You know? Bro, this is boomer leftovers. It's just him saying, I'm scared of this. Look, this scared me. When I found out about it, it scared me. I couldn't even chat GPT it. Huge story in the UK right now. Okay, so Henry Nowak, 18-year-old British university student, was murdered by Vikram Digwa. Digwa was a 23-year-old British Sikh man, cut and stabbed Nowak a total of 5 times in the night. When police arrived, Digwa accused Nowak of assault and the officers handcuffed Nowak. He died shortly after being handcuffed. What the fuck? Shortly before the stabbing, Nowak filmed Digwa walking away from him during a verbal altercation. Digwa maintained that he acted in self-defense after Nowak continued pursuing him, made racist remarks, and punched him. Prosecutors argued that these allegations were baseless and fabricated in an attempt to justify the stabbing. The jury convicted Digwa of murder on the 28th of May, 2026. Digwa's mother was found guilty of assisting an offender. The judge rejected Digwa's accusations that Nowak had physically or racially abused him. Digwa received a life sentence with a minimum of 21 years. The police response to the crime recorded on body-worn cameras was referred to the independent police. They're trying to use this as a case to counter to BLM and want to portray that people against police violence or reptitude only care about it if the person is POC. You didn't hear about this? Made you look, Patrick Bet David wins. Yeah, here's the thing I don't understand. We're having a conversation about, like, out of the 2 countries, like, which one respects free speech less, right? I don't even know if I agree with Mehdi's take that, like, America respects free speech less than the UK. But this has nothing to do with that. This is just like regular police incompetence. Is there like a real systemic problem with like white people being stabbed and then being arrested falsely because the black or brown perpetrator falsely claimed that the white stabbing victim? First of all, why are cops handcuffing stabbing victims? Like, even if they're a perpetrator, why are you handcuffing them if they have been stabbed? That's a little insane. And like that in and of itself is very strange to me. But also, is that like a real, they didn't believe that he was stabbed? What the fuck? They thought he was faking. No, because the Sikh guy lied. Sure, I got that. But why didn't they check? What do you mean? There's just a dude there's just a dude who is sitting there stabbed, and he's like, I've been stabbed. And the cop is like, step right over here. You're getting arrested, scum. Like, that's what who trained these guys, dude? Reno police department? Who the fuck? That's like American levels of police incompetence. The BWV shows that the officers attending didn't believe he had been stabbed. I don't think so, mate. I think is one of the officer's words. The policing problem where instead of assessing the situation properly, they just immediately go to restrain people. Yeah. The argument is that the police showed racial bias favoring non-whites. Are people sincerely making an argument that police are woke in the UK? Is it upside down world over there? What the fuck's going on? Like, people are sincerely using this one incident, this one instance as a clear-cut example that, like, police in every single circumstance will favor the non-white person. Like, is this a real like common issue? I'm still confused as to what this has to do with the argument that was presented about free speech protections in America versus the UK. So no one is or blaming police malpractice here, or rather, if they're blaming police malpractice, they're saying the real malpractice is that the cops are too woke, I guess, and always believe black and brown people. They call it two-tier policing. Okay, are UK cops actually woke? I don't think so. Is that a thing? The police are blaming DEI training? Wow. I guess it's cool seeing other countries be just as stupid as we are, you know, in some ways. It makes me feel like I'm not so alone. Right? Henry Nowak died the same way civilization dies, abandoned, handcuffed by authorities who neither trusted nor cared for him, and accused of hate crimes he did not commit. His murder is as tragic as it is enraging. I mean, it is tragic. It is enraging. I mean, it's totally fucking ridiculous. But I feel like you don't really care about this at all if you're just using this as a jump off point to land an insane position out of nowhere. Do things happen in the world of conservatives where, like, there's like malpractice or incompetence or ineptitude demonstrated in that moment that doesn't immediately correspond to like broad systemic hallucinations like white people being under attack by minorities? Nigel Farage. The fear of being called racist was greater than dealing with Henry Nowak's murder. We should respond to this with pure cold rage. But the fear of being called racist was greater than dealing with Henry Nowak's murder? Who's afraid of being called racist? I have not met people that are afraid of being called racist. As a matter of fact, it almost feels like they love being called racist, the way that they behave usually. I just don't think that I don't think there's a real fear in any Western society at this point where people are just like, oh no, I'm going to be called racist. I mean, I get called racist all the fucking time, like all the time, nonstop. The ADL has spent tireless amounts of money and efforts to not only call me a racist, but also like try to get me deplatformed and shit. So I assume you skipped the riots Tommy Robinson triggered together with Nigel in the UK? Yeah, I didn't know that UK was having riots again. Jesus Christ.
When police arrived, Digwa accused Nowak of assault, and officers handcuffed Nowak. He died shortly after being handcuffed. The video came out, I think, yesterday, Rob, if you want to pull it up. And it showed the guy can't breathe.
There was a riot following Farage's call for rage. 11 officers injured, classic stochastic terrorism. Excuse me. That was a brave act where it seems like the British public was no longer afraid of being called racist. Or are they still afraid of being called racist? I don't know. I'm confused about this being called racist thing.
He's having a hard time breathing. He's telling the cops, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. All of a sudden, he dies. And they said, no, you said some racist comments. Rob, I sent the video to you in the notes if you go to it. So,
okay.
So
what's the point of that?
But I'm going to tell you what's the point of, no.
It's horrible.
No, but because the cops sided with Digwa, they said Digwa told them.
Okay, what's the broader point, Patrick? This is a horrible situation. Like what when guys like this bring stuff like this up, I wonder always like, what you think I'm going to be like? Like, what do you think Mehdi's going to turn around and be like, that's awesome. He deserved to die. Is that what you think is going to happen here? Like, what's the fucking point? Like, yes, I'm not exactly a fan of police. I don't think they do a good job.
That he made racist comments And when the guy's saying, I was stabbed by these guys, he's running away. They caught him. The guy had an 8-inch knife, the typical, the Sikh, what do you call it? The ceremonial knife that they have. You know which one I'm talking about.
Yes, which now,
so he gets stabbed.
Now they want to ban.
Can you?
I did see British politicians say they want to ban it, and I didn't realize the context. This is the context.
And this is the context. And they said they wanted to ban it. Keir Starmer came out today and said, no, we're not going to ban it. But you know what you can't have in England? You know what you can't have in England? You can't even have pepper spray. Pepper spray has not been legal since 68, but they can have that knife. How does that make any sense? So for me, you and I can cherry pick stories on both sides to create rage on why this or that, but the stats are the stats.
What?
So when you're saying...
Wait, do you think the stats are on your side on this incident? Is there an epidemic of white people being stabbed and then being lied about, and then cops coming up on the scene and being like, well, we're woke. Well, I'm woke, governor. Got to arrest the white stabbing victim in it. Is that what's going on? What are you, fucking insane? What stat is there for this incident? I mean, this is a horrifying situation. It's you know, through and through police incompetence. Okay, classic case. But I just don't think that this is like a commonplace situation. The father of Henry Nowak wants to make it illegal for Sikhs to carry kirpan's ceremonial dagger now. Reform wants to ban too. The Sikh community was not a kirpan and has condemned the murder. Yeah, dude, England is so strange because they do have knife bans. I don't have an opinion on this. I don't understand it. I don't even understand why like the Sikh population want to have kirpans on them. But I also don't even understand why there's like knife control. What's the religious significance of the kirpan? I feel like this is one of those things that they tweak the algorithm on so that we talk about this. Sometimes there will be like a totally new thing that I've never encountered before, and I feel like I'm fairly tapped into like all of the comings and goings and the debates, and then there will be like this new thing all of a sudden and everyone's talking about it. I'm like, is this like what? How did this happen? How is this like a big point of contention? When did this, like, what's the driving motivator here? It's like, oh, if I can't have one, he can't too. Is that what it is? Like, are you jealous that Sikh people get to have a religious knife, but you don't get to have a knife? It's one of the 5 Ks alongside uncut clean hair and a beard and certain underwear, metal bracelet, and a hair comb. Oh, I did not know that. I didn't know that every Sikh person always carries a knife with them at all times. Because you can't go around with a samurai sword is why gangs use knives, a lot of big zombie knives. Knife control is because they're the go-to for gangs to use as we don't have guns. You can't buy a kitchen knife in a store if you're a kid. It sounds hysterical, but it did used to be a thing. It's like half real problem, half overblown by the media. That's kind of cool that like your religion forces you to carry a knife on you at all times. Wait, you can carry it on a plane? Lots of kirpans don't actually come out of the sheath. It's bolted in. That's kind of cool. That's a cool religious practice. I like that. I think they should keep it. I think that should not be banned. There you go. I've decided. Sorry to all the people who wanted the kirpan to be banned. Sikh organizations describe the kirpan as an article of faith that symbolizes dignity and a duty to stand against injustice and protect the vulnerable. You are just in the American algo. More context. EU media is trying to make it a story too, very enthusiastically. I'm unsure. Do Sikh people even have like, is that even a stereotype that like they get violent or something? I don't think so, right? Literally the chillest people, anecdotally speaking, at least. I guess they're brown and they have big beards, right? So that's... Sikhs are literally the EDL's model minority. They have so many tokens, Lamau. Yeah, no, they do get confused for Muslims because of the garb and the turban and the beard. I can't believe we've moved on to so many different places from this conversation, but at least I learned a new cool thing.
That story about America and UK, you hear a story like this. Where is the rage with this? Where's the outrage?
That's not even a free speech story. We were talking about free speech. You brought up stats about social media arrests, and I'm saying to you right now in the US, you can be arrested by this government, detained for a year without charge.
If there's a 10-to-1 fight happening, you're morally obligated to jump in defense of the one. Are you making fun of me because I do that, or are you saying that's like the Sikh credo?
Because you said something the government doesn't like about Israel. by the way, about a foreign country. It's not even about the American government.
Yeah.
You're not even criticizing the American government. You're criticizing a foreign government.
I'm going to go look it up, and I'll give
Please
you my
do.
response to you personally
Look up.
myself.
Have them on your show. Have Mohsen Madawi on your show. Have Badr Khan Suri, who's in court right now, on your show. Georgetown student. These guys were picked up off the streets by men, unmasked men, unmarked
Do these
cars.
people love America?
Yes.
They
Why
love
are they here?
America. I don't know. Are they planning on staying here or going back
Yeah,
home?
Mahmoud Khalil is married here, has a kid. He had a kid while he was in prison. Donald Trump, the Family Values Party, the Republican Party, didn't let this guy be with his wife when she gave birth, didn't let him hold his baby.
What do you say about Henry Nowak, what I just showed you?
I think that's horrific.
That's UK.
I think that's horrific.
But this is the
I don't know
part that's
I don't know the details, but obviously the police got it wrong.
This is the part that kind of, so you represented the media on the left, okay? So Rob, can you go back to that story, that New York Times, if you search the two different words of George Floyd versus what happened with Novak, you just had it up right now a minute ago.
What is the argument, man? What does this have to do with, bro? What does this have to do with what Mehdi and you were talking about moments ago? This thing has gone completely off the rails, man. I am valuetained though, as always.
Come on, you're gonna do this?
No,
the
he's gonna be
media is
fine.
the media is.
But wait a minute. This is New York Times. Go to the first one.
I'm not a fan of the news.
You type in Henry Nowak. How many names? Results 19. Go to the next one, Rob. George Floyd, 6397. There is no incentive to tell this story because it doesn't go with the narrative.
So I disagree with you. I grew up in the UK. Right-wing media has been telling these stories all my life. All I've seen is black people and
listen,
Muslim
UK
people
is getting
on the front
destroyed.
pages. Have you looked at the front pages of the Daily Mail, the Daily Express? What do you mean the UK is being destroyed?
You think UK is doing good?
Yeah, I mean, no, but not for the reasons you think.
Why do you think UK is not doing good?
I think economically it's doing very badly. It had very
Why?
bad leadership for the last 15 years. I was there. The Conservative government that came in 2010
Yeah.
did an austerity program after the financial crisis.
You put it
basically
on Cameron.
destroyed.
Cameron is
David Cameron
yeah.
and George Osborne
Yep.
did an austerity program that basically gutted the British state, gutted our competitiveness, didn't cut the deficits, actually ruined our fiscal credibility, downgraded our credit rating, destroyed our growth over the course of a decade, undermined our health service.
Do you put anything tied to immigration to that?
No.
None.
Immigration's been a boost for the British economy. In fact, cutting immigration is bad. Look at Brexit. Brexit's been a disaster for the British economy. Do you know how many people in Britain want to rejoin the EU? A majority. Pull that up. The majority of Britons want to go back into the EU.
Yeah, he said, I'm a numbers guy too. I can be a numbers guy too. You're not a numbers guy, Mehdi. Don't try to be a numbers guy. You don't get to tell Vinny to pull shit up.
What do you think that is?
Why
do you think that is, Pat?
Do you think?
Why do you think Britons want to go back into the EU?
You
You just said Britain's being destroyed.
No, but
I'm
have
saying
you
they
looked
want to
at the,
rejoin
have
the
you looked at the
EU.
crime numbers? What's going on in UK?
Crime is very low.
Have you looked?
I think one of the funniest things that I genuinely love about Patrick Bet-David is in his mind, he's truly white. Like he behaves with the confidence and the swagger of a white man. And I think in his mind, he's like when people go, hey, you know you're not white, right? Like he's just like shocked by it sometimes. He literally thinks he's part of the team like 100%. And I love it. I love him and I love that for him. And it's really funny because I don't think anybody that's in his immediate vicinity reads him as white at all. The only reason why he can have this level of delusion is because he's in Miami, and Miami is the place for guys who are not white who think they are. So he's surrounded by other Patrick Bet-Davids who are just like, yeah, I'm a numbers guy too. What do you mean?
Crime is very low, Patrick.
So let me ask you.
Do you know what the crime rate in London is?
Did you see the tweet that
You know,
came out
I know you're not a fan of
yesterday?
Sadiq Khan. You're not a fan of my good friend Sadiq Khan, are you?
What EU did? You saw the tweet that came out. What EU was saying they're doing, that they want to find a way to get rid of illegal immigrants.
Okay, you're jumping around, Patrick. Britain is not in
not.
the EU. We're talking about Britain. You just said Britain's being destroyed, which is nonsense. And then you said crime rate. Have you looked at the London crime rates?
You don't.
Last year, London had its lowest per capita murder rate since records began, had the lowest volume of homicides for 30 years under Sadiq Khan, third-term mayor, who people in America, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, get very worked up about. I don't know if you guys get worked up about him. Been a very successful mayor, and crime has come down by record numbers. Violent crime and murder.
When you're looking at EU, do you know which country?
When the numbers guy encounters the other numbers guy. Oh no, he's getting numbers mogged. No. Bruh. He's getting numbers mogged. Bruh.
The EU has the lowest
We're
rape
talking about
rate.
the UK, Patrick.
Stay with UK. Stay with
The UK is not in the EU anymore, sadly.
Yeah, he's just trying to dance around. He's like, oh, yeah, what about the EU? What about the UK? Okay, how about Italy?
To me, I'll put them somewhat together in the
Even
same
though
area.
they left 10 years ago.
By the way,
Okay.
so you're saying immigration coming from all these countries has been a successful project for the EU?
What's your definition of success?
Many different ways.
Economically,
Economy-
the EU desperately needs migrants. Have you seen the age rate? Pull up the demographic.
Okay, so the
it's a dying continent with a very low birth rate, as Elon Musk likes to point out.
So when you think
They got
about,
no one there to work, to pay taxes, to look after the elderly, to run their health services, etc.
maybe the one argument I'll go to see what you'll say about this. Do you think the West, when it comes down to West, Muslims can coexist
Whoa,
with the
we just
West?
took a handbrake
I'm curious.
down
I'm curious.
We went from Britain's being destroyed to London crime to EU to Muslims.
I'm curious.
Okay, we got to Muslims.
Tell me where you are with this.
I'm
Do you think they
Muslim.
can
I'm
coexist?
Muslims. What do you think my
Do you think
answer
they can coexist?
Do you think I can coexist with
I
them?
think you can coexist.
Why me?
Educated, you're a worker, you're now a capitalist, you're contributing, you're creating jobs. I would say you're net positive.
Do you not think most Muslims do that?
I don't think depending on where they're coming from, they don't, because if their countries did a good job, why would they leave it?
War?
Can't argue with that. He's so racist. Dog, you're fucking brown. You're Iranian and a business owner talking to a British Indian guy who's also a business owner in America. And you're like, well, we are the good ones. That's awesome. Oh, this is so stupid. Look at Mehdi's face. He's like, what? That's great. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick Bet David. And thank you, Mehdi Hasan. This has been wonderful so far.
That we caused?
War that who caused?
That we caused.
So they're leaving because of us.
Well, the big controversy in the UK over the boats, the small boats coming across the channel. Do you know what the top 3 nationalities are in those boats?
Tell me.
Iran, number 1.
Okay.
Afghanistan, number 2. Iraq, number 3. Now,
So-
Iran is a current war. Let's park Iran. But are you telling me we're not responsible for the mess in Afghanistan
So-
and Iraq? Come on.
When you look at this, let me show you this. Rob, can you pull this up? When it comes down to
Yes.
let me see which one I got here.
I love Rob bringing up these.
No,
I love he
know
brings
you
this
like,
up.
I know you like numbers.
No, I love it. I love being proved right. as
He
well.
said, I know you like number. Oh, he's doing new ones. He's using new sound bites. I know you like number.
Bringing up these.
No,
So I love he
know
brings
you
this
like,
up.
I know you like numbers.
No, I love it. I love being.
I know you like number. I'm a numbers guy. I know you like number. I will show you. I will show you. Rob, bring the numbers up.
Being proved right as well. It's
Per
good
capita.
for my ego.
No. Per capita. Per capita. When you look at the countries, Rob, I think you got it. Gulf states, how they perform per capita versus some of the other Muslim nations.
That's okay.
Look at this one here.
Because they got oil and gas.
You think it's only oil and gas that's causing them? You don't think?
Did you know what these countries were like in
Let
the
me ask you a
60s and
question.
70s?
He didn't just do that. That's so dumb. He's so fucking. That's awesome, dude. That is fucking awesome.
Iran has plenty of oil.
Yeah.
How come they're not in here?
Maybe
Iraq
there was
has
a,
got oil.
Can I answer your question?
But this has been going on for a minute. This is
Can I
not a
answer your
one-year thing.
Can I answer your question?
Sure.
Why do you think Iran's not doing well economically? Should I go through the list?
You're going to say it's sanctions. You're going to say
course I'm
it's
gonna say
America.
sanctions.
You're going to say it's America's fault.
Not just America's fault.
So how
but
come you're
but partly. Hold on. How much? Okay, you left Iran during the Iran-Iraq war, right? Is that
I
when you
left Iran after Khomeini died, 6 weeks after Khomeini died.
Okay, so Iran-Iraq was done by then.
89,
So Iran-Iraq
July
was
15th, 89.
So Iran-Iraq was done. Iran-Iraq was
was done.
1980 to 1988.
Yes.
$600 billion of damage done to Iranian infrastructure, the economy, the cost of that war.
But
that was a
whose
war that
fault is
Saddam
Whose fault
Hussein.
is that? Oh, you put it on Saddam.
Whose fault do you think it is? Who invaded who?
So, by the way,
hold on, Patrick. Come on.
You don't at all put that on IRGC?
No, I put it on the
You
guy.
don't put it on Islamic Revolutionary
I put it
Guard?
on the country that invades the other country. That's how the world works. I blame Russia for the Ukraine war.
Why
They
do
invaded
they have a hard
Ukraine.
time getting along with other people?
Why did Saddam Hussein? Are you pro
Iran.
Saddam?
No. Why does Iran have a hard time getting along with other
That was
people?
what I said. I said there was an Iran-Iraq war. You said, is America to blame? I said, yes, we backed Saddam Hussein. Did we not back Saddam Hussein? Did Donald Rumsfeld not fly and hug? You can pick up Rob can bring up a video of Donald Rumsfeld hugging Saddam Hussein in 1983 in Baghdad. Were we not supporting the Iraqi invasion of Iran that cost Iran 1 million lives?
I lived there.
$600 billion
I lived in the
of
capital.
infrastructure damage. You're saying that didn't play any role in Iran's economic future.
Why don't they?
You're not answering my question.
No, but you don't understand what I'm saying.
No,
But Mehdi, let me ask
you.
you.
Want me to acknowledge?
He's dog walking him so hard that he has like reduced in size. which is once again, as a big Patrick Bet-David fan, shameful, and I don't like Mehdi Hasan's performance here. He's hurting my goat too hard. Okay, he's hurting my goat too hard. I don't like it. I know you like number. I know you like number. Oh, I mean, that's gonna be my new stem probably. I know you like number. I'm a numbers guy. I know you like number. Why the hell are you going to try to debate someone who literally has a book called Win Every Argument? Yeah, I already read the comments. Everyone's fucking talking about how Mehdi dog walked him. This is embarrassing.
No, but look, let's give credit to, for instance, when Mamdani goes to the White House, you and I both gave credit to both of them.
He's like, remember the time when we agreed? Can we do that again? He's literally doing that. He's like, remember how good it was when you weren't defeating me and instead we were agreeing? We need to go back to that.
Being diplomatic.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think Iranian leadership with the IRGC is diplomatic?
No.
Do you
They've
think
been horrific.
Okay, this is cowardly from Mehdi. Yes, they have. They absolutely have. The Iranian leadership has been unfathomably diplomatic. As a matter of fact, until the last iteration of the Operation Epstein's Fury, the Iranian diplomacy side was so aggressively restrained that it was perceived as a fucking weakness by both America and Israel. And that is literally part of the reason why I think Donald Trump was goaded into thinking, oh yeah, we can defeat these guys. They're so scared of us. It's not even a comparison between the United States of America, the serial violator of all international rules and norms, and Israel also, and Iran. Yes, it sounds insane to say this, but as far as international diplomacy goes, international relations goes, 100% Iran is far more aware, far more restrained, and far more diplomatic than both Israel and the United States of America. Like, this has nothing to do with like internal repression, domestic repression, things of that nature. Obviously, I'm not defending things that the Iranian government does in that regard. But as far as like international relations goes, yes.
In their leadership, I think they've given themselves, they've given their opponents a stick with which to beat them. I was a big critic of Ahmadinejad back in the day. He said dumb things.
So do you think Khomeini was good for Iran?
Do I think Khomeini was good?
Do you think
for
Khomeini
Iran?
was good for Iran?
No, in hindsight, of course not. If you look at the record,
So
today,
then we're on the
look
same
what we
page.
left behind.
What I'm trying to do is,
I've said this before. I went on Piers Morgan.
Wait, okay. Once again, hard disagree on that issue as well. I mean, if you don't want Khomeini or Khamenei, don't intervene in the Iranian affairs. Like the revolution doesn't happen if America doesn't install a puppet leader and instigate a coup.
Sure. Just to be clear, for people who don't know, I'm Shia. Right? I'm a Shia Muslim.
I know you're Shia.
Which
Yeah.
is the majority religion in Iran.
Sure.
Right? So I do, but there are two types of Shias. This is a very crude, I'm trying to explain to your audience. Religiously, theologically, politically, there's two types of Shias. There are those who believe in what's called Vilayat Faqih, WF. They believe that Khomeini, this was a political theory, some say a religious theory, pushed by Ayatollah Khomeini, that said that the clerics, the Ayatollahs, the mullahs, whatever you want to call them, they should rule. Power should be with them. That is the model that Iran has followed. There is another school of thought that comes out of Iraq, mainly out of a city called Najaf, and an Ayatollah called Sistani, who is the leading Shia Ayatollah in Iraq today. And they say, no, we are all for religion. We're all, we want everyone to practice Islam, Shia Islam, but we're not going to rule. After the Americans toppled Saddam, Ayatollah Sistani did not do a Khomeini. He did not say, I'm going to become supreme leader of Iraq. He said, have elections, democracy, vote. I'm going to stay in my house and I'm going to give you advice, religious advice when you need it. I follow the Ayatollah Sistani view of the world, crudely put. Sure. I don't follow the Ayatollah Khomeini view of the world. So when you say to me, was he good for Iran? As a governmental system, no, I don't support the governing system of Iran the way it is. But you're changing the subject. You're avoiding you are.
I'm not.
There was an 8-year war. We were talking about Iran's economy.
I lived there. Trust me, I lived there. I witnessed it.
I understand.
You should entertain the idea of living in a Muslim majority country, see what it's like.
I understand.
I lived there.
You're jumping.
Oh my God. What the fuck does this have to do with guys? The conversation started because Patrick Bet-David said something unbelievably racist that was so racist that I thought it was funny because he just like casually said, why would Muslims leave their countries if they were run so good And that's the reason why Muslims actually don't succeed in the Western world, and therefore they're not a benefit but a burden. That was the implication. That wasn't like 3 or 4 arguments ago. That was the argument. And now we've arrived at, I lived in a majority Muslim country and it sucked. And that Muslims can't coexist for the most part in the Western world with others.
Around it.
I'm
We'll talk
not.
about-
What I'm.
What you were talking
just
about the
said
economy.
Iraq, Iran. I'll let you finish your thought, and then I'll go back to my question that I had.
So
Go ahead, finish
I'm
your
going to
thought.
finish my thought. Well, it doesn't. It's a thought that requires a response from you, which is if there's an 8-year war that Iraq started and we supported that cost $600 billion to Iran, that took out 1 million members of their population, and then was followed by crazy sanctions. Are you telling me then that it's fair to compare that economy with Abu Dhabi? Are you seriously telling me that's a fair
Perfect. Can you
comparison?
go back to that chart again, Rob, for me? So you just defended Iraq, right? That we backed up Iraq,
Yes.
that went against Iran.
Yeah.
How come they're not on the top GDP per capita on this list?
Do you know what happened to Iraq after the Iran-Iraq war?
So now you have another reason. It's America's fault again.
I mean, do you study history, Patrick? Do you know what happened in
no, no.
1991?
But do you
we
real-
did a Gulf.
No, but
Why do you got to bring up information like that? Who cares if America just did sanctions on Iraq? I'm a numbers guy. And these are numbers that I'm unfamiliar with. I didn't ChatGPT it. I didn't grok it. Look at the numbers I put in front of you and don't look at any other numbers or other events that have happened throughout history.
the Gulf,
if
Saddam
this is a-
idiotically
this is a
invaded Kuwait.
victimhood language for you to say. So on one end,
Wow.
on one end you're saying this, on the other end you say no, it's because
You're
of this. So
comparing countries. You're showing me a graph comparing countries that have never been bombed, invaded, and occupied with countries that have been bombed, invaded, occupied, and then you say, why is the GDP per capita higher in
haven't
one,
they,
not the
though?
other?
Why haven't
That's an
they?
insane comparison.
Why
with
have
respect.
they made so much progress? Why? They're Muslim majority.
Yeah.
Okay, why have they made so much progress?
I mean, first of all,
and by the way, at this point, just so you know, the argument is now not about Muslim.
I know it's not.
I know, but the argument is why are some winning, some are not?
And I
why
explained war plays a big role in this.
Well, Mehdi, a part of it
I
makes
just pointed
sense.
out to you the 3 biggest refugee groups on the boats going into England are
Say
Iran,
Iran.
Iraq, Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Coincidence? No, those are war-torn countries.
I'm not disputing that. What I'm trying to tell you is even with that, if you sit here and say every single time everything is America's fault, what responsibility do they take? Do they take any responsibility that they're not making the right decision for the people?
Just to be clear, people can rewind. I know Rob does screenshots, but people on watching on YouTube can rewind. Never did I say it's all America's fault. I've never said that. Have you read? You said you've read my stuff. You've seen my stuff.
I've seen your
I'm
stuff.
very critical of Muslim majority countries. I am very critical of the Iranian government. I'm very critical of the Saudi government. I'm very critical
What
of the
feedback would you give?
Emirati
What do you
government. I've
think they
criticized.
can do?
I do a show for Al Jazeera, and I grilled the Qatari foreign minister on that show about the lack of democracy.
Dude, I've seen your
I'm
stuff.
critical of
I know,
Arab
I've seen your-
governments, Muslim government, Pakistan.
Do you
I'm critical
think?
of all these.
Do you think the Middle East is a safer place with IRGC in charge of running America, or somebody like a Pezeshkian, more the moderates?
Of course, I'm more of a moderate. I would like to see. And again, who undermined the moderates?
Okay, I have a better argument here. I think IRGC and its militancy would have caused sufficient military deterrence against Israel and may have even allowed Iran to develop a nuclear weapon, and therefore would have created an environment of long-standing peace far before this current iteration of the conflict ever took place. There is a real argument here that he said IRGC running America, but I think he meant Iran for the record. So I'm just like skipping past that point because that'd be really funny. I don't, but yes, there is a real argument here for there being more regional stability if Iran had shied away from the path of strategic restraint and moved in the direction of deterrence. Yeah. It's the North Korea argument, obviously.
Iran. Sorry, it's going to be the answer
I
you don't
agree.
like. The United States of America.
No, I disagree.
The United States of America.
No, I disagree. I don't think that's
did?
the case.
Who
Israel.
Oh, well.
No, I don't put
Our
it on-
proxy then.
No, but
undermined.
listen to you were not expecting my answer.
No, because I don't
they-
accept this fake split between U.S. and Israel.
But this
Sorry.
is not it. But let me tell you I do, because what I see going on right now is I see Israel, in a way, I actually like what's taking place. Let me explain to you why I like what's taking place. A part of what's going on right now is the world is able to see Bibi's motive versus Trump's motive. Like, you remember that one time when the Trump and Bibi are on stage speaking, and he's saying, yeah, we're thinking about taking over Gaza, and we're going to build a hotel here, And then you see Bibi goes like, wait, what? You never told me that. He kind of got, I don't know if you remember that session or not.
And it was
Okay.
the West Bank equivalent.
So a part of it for me, I like that this is happening because I prefer this to be in the public's eye. I prefer for Trump to show, hey, listen, if I want to go become a prime minister of Israel, I would do it. You're there just because of me. I like him saying that publicly.
All right.
I like that is taking place. But to me, who wants IRGC to be gone?
So a couple of things. On the Trump point, I agree it's better these things happen in public, and there is a weird upside to Trump having such a big mouth and saying crazy shit all the time. There is a pro to that. I get that. But let's not forget, Patrick, you saw the New York Times big piece where we discovered from Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan that Benjamin Netanyahu went to the Situation Room and made the case to Trump with Mossad joining via Zoom or wherever it was, and he persuaded Trump that this will be a walk in the park, cakewalk, all of that shit. That happened in private.
What's your percentage that happened?
That happened in private.
What's your percentage that
high
happened?
percentage.
Give me a number, 80%?
80%.
I'm 50.
I don't know what to even add as feedback. Like, it's like hard to continue his like the things that he's weaving into the conversation are so strange and irrelevant. Wait, what the fuck? Left-wing lunacy? What the fuck is this? White House website? Hasan Piker lamenting that President Trump is alive and remarking that it would be funny if he died. Wait, what the fuck? The offense, the fake news unhinged. By the way, 2 S's? What the fuck? They fucking wrote my name wrong. I'm on the White House website? What the fuck? What? The offense, the fake news and unhinged sick Democrats have spent years peddling reckless, inflammatory, and escalating rhetoric about President Trump, his administration, and tens of millions of Americans, smearing them as fascist, Nazis, and threats. The truth, the toxic environment has repeatedly incited their supporters to violence, most recently at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, when another radical left lunatic attempted to assassinate President Trump in the third such attack in under 2 years. Examples of degenerate fake news figureheads spewing such disgusting rhetoric include Hasan Piker lamenting that President Trump is alive and remarking that it would be pretty funny if he died. What? When did I even say that? Wait, is David Pacman and them on here too? Whoa, David Pacman is on here. Emma Nicholson. President Trump in the Oval Office Situation Room commanding one of the most daring health crises, fueled by unhinged fringe accounts. Probably many times, let's be real. Dude, shut the fuck up. I don't remember. Why didn't they put the link? I want to see the video. I'm guessing it's clipped like you saying something along the lines, it'd be pretty funny. Oh, yeah, it'd be pretty funny if he died to one of his own supporters who turned on him, etc. Something like that. I would never say that. Shut the fuck up, Megaphonics. Oh, wait, hold on. The sources are here. Hold on. Mediaite, Newsbusters. Evil never dies. Twitch star Hasan Piker laments Trump is still alive and still kicking. Twitch star Hasan Piker was a bit bummed that President Donald Trump was still alive on Saturday after many speculated on X and Blue Sky about the Commander-in-Chief's health because of a light Labor Day weekend schedule. Wait. This is the story of the fucking week. The notion that so many people have deep-held resentment for the fucking president that they're actively fantasizing about his untimely demise at the young age of 79, Piker said. His comment came a few hours after photos and video emerged of Trump heading out to play some golf with his granddaughter, Kai Trump. Piker, during his live stream, said everybody was stoked that Trump was potentially dead. The president, he added, is an evil, obese, demented 80-year-old man. Before saying he believes it backfires whenever Trump's haters pray for his downfall. I feel like it has the opposite effect, Piker said, where you just hit the thoughts and prayers, and then those thoughts and prayers end up bouncing off of him. You know, it just makes him stronger. I don't know what it is. On Saturday, Piker added, it would be pretty funny if Trump died before former President Joe Biden. Oh, I did say it. Like, I said it'd be pretty funny if Trump died before former President Joe Biden, whom Piker said was old as fuck and had a deteriorating brain. Yo, I cracked myself up, dude. It's way funnier when it's written down. I got clip chipped by the White House. That's crazy. Yeah, I thought
Legalized comedy.
I thought legalized comedy. What the fuck? Do you ever look back at some of the things you said and chuckle yourself to sleep? I mean, this is pretty funny. This is a good take. I cooked. It's bad that it's written down though. Whatever. Okay.